Yo, what's up, everybody? What's good? What's happening? Here we are, Monday, May 5th. Y'all can call it Cinco de Mayo or whatever it is, but this is a special presentation of the Boxing Source podcast. As you know what, pretty much around what I would say, May 3rd, I'll put it at May 3rd or whatever it was, in 2015. Over in Las Vegas, Nevada, in a food court of a hotel or resort in Las Vegas that, as of right now, doesn't even exist at this point. That is the Tropicana Hotel. There are Las Vegas Boulevard that would have been across from MGM Grand and Excalibur. And you also had on the other corner there, New York, New York. But right now on that particular corner, there is no Tropicana. But on that date in 2015, pretty much around that date in 2015, the first show for the Boxing Source took place that was on Blog Talk Radio. And whether it's been like off and on, weekly on, usually on Sundays, there from 2015 up until now, we have had a boxing podcast here for the people. So, yep, that's right. Here on May 5th, 2025, 5/5/2025, pretty much celebrate 10 years of the Boxing Source. Yeah, we pretty much had been branched off from doing boxing coverage here and there through actually what was called the Cohort Truth on Sports that was on Blog Talk Radio through MRN Broadcasting. Shout out to Matt Long of MRN Broadcasting back in the day, host of the Cohort Truth on Sports. Pretty much gave me the idea to branch off and do my own podcast specifically for boxing. And that's why it started off at that weekend, which was the weekend of Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Emmanuel Daffy-Dran Pacquiao. So, yeah, Floyd Joy Sinclair versus Emmanuel Daffy-Dran Pacquiao. Yep, Mayweather-Pacquiao was that weekend. And after that fight took place, that pretty much signaled the start of, as at the time, the Boxing Source radio show. But it stemmed off to being the Boxing Source podcast as you know it right now. All right. But over the years, we've had, multiple panelists, multiple guests. It's branched off to, having a start of the website, theboxingsource.net. It's also, had me be part of a number of events in the sport of boxing over the years. And so, just doing this for this long, man, I'm like, goodness gracious, it's been that long, since I had started this particular podcast there. And that's why, why I say, according to reports, this is the longest running boxing podcast in existence, right? And yep, even though you have a number of these episodes here on YouTube, we do have it from pretty much like episode 1 up until the current thing on Spotify, or wait a minute, I forgot. Spotify have been tripping because of a little bit of a technicality in the number of the shows that I put up or that I uploaded. So I still have to do a little bit of correction in order to edit a number of those shows in the past there for the Boxing Source. But once I get that all complete and redo it, then you will see pretty much have every single episode of the Boxing Source available on Spotify. But we have a number of things here that we're going to be talking about here in this particular episode, as we're going to have a special guest on here scheduled for 7 p.m. Eastern time, as we have Deric Scooter Davis here to join us. And we'll have a number of our panelists here. Hopefully they'll be able to join us to talk about, what happened over the weekend, as there was a lot of action over the weekend. And also, go back to a good number of clips here that, wanted to, talk about or bring up for over the years here on the Boxing Source. So hopefully we could do that. Shout out to our brother Nico here on the live chat here says the source is greater than the voice. Yeah, I see what you're doing right there. I see what you're doing right there. But hey, listen, they do what they do. I do what I do. And I try to stay consistent in doing what I do. All right. So that's, why, I'm able to be where I've been able to be at over the course of these 10 years or so. Wanted to, go ahead and keep it going, whether it's, like I said, events all over, the US. And, at least last year, I was able to make it to see Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois at Wembley Stadium. And, hopefully I have an opportunity to make another trip out there for another fight. So that's something there to look out for the boxing source, right? So you do have that. And, a number of the events that I've been to in the past, I could, talk about the, number of big events there, whether it's, Spence versus Ugas or, Crawford versus Porter, Canelo versus Munguia, Canelo versus Charlo versus Casano 2, the rematch, you know what I mean? And a number of events, of course, recently there with Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach, David Benavidez versus David Morrell Jr. It's just so many to count. You know what I mean? So many. And the thing is like I look back and I'm like, geez, I've had all of these events that I went to over the years, that's been, like I was mentioning before, all the way back to like 2016 or whatever it is with, Gary Russell Jr. versus Oscar Escandón at the MGM Grand, not MGM Grand, but the MGM National Harbor. So I've covered a lot of events, taken a lot of photos, a lot of photos that I still, I still have, still keep record of it. You know what I mean? So, it's kind of like branched off and things like that. And, it's been, a long journey that, still going. You feel me? And I don't know, man, I might open up the phone lines. I might, but that'll be like until what is it, after 7 o'clock Eastern time, when after we have our special guest on here. We're going to see about getting them here and set up. And so we're going to be talking about, his upcoming thing here, right? That's supposed to be scheduled for being in Norfolk, Virginia. So definitely wanted to talk about that. And, like I said there, with the number of the events that happen there on May 2nd, May 3rd, and May 4th, we have that. We have, of course, big news that was recently announced here on the channel as actually tomorrow, right? On the YouTube channel, we will have the continuation of the show Real Boxing with Coach Ronnie Shields that will be on now on the Boxing Source YouTube channel. So we're getting things set up and getting things ready in a gear to have that happen here starting on Tuesday night. Then we're going to have the midweek report on Wednesday. We're going to have special guest Brooklyn Barwick on the show there for Wednesday. So it's going to be a very, very busy week here on this particular channel. And, we had like some news that have been, going through the boxing waves here also over the past couple of days too. So we're hopefully going to be able to touch on that. We had like a number of fights that were kind of like announced or whatever it is. And that is going to be something there. Cause I'm like, wait a minute, I was trying to get in contact with one particular promoter to see if they could talk about a few things here and there, right? But wasn't able to reach them. And then all of a sudden I see on social media that one of their fighters is going to be, having a fight. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you see, man, this is the thing here, man. Sometimes, it's one thing, you want to see if you go ahead and break some news or something like that. But the other thing too is like, I just want to get information as a, what is it? As Bobby the Brain Heenan said, a broadcast journalist. That's what I'm trying to be is a broadcast journalist like Bobby the Brain Heenan, right? You know, and thing about it is like I was trying to get in contact with one particular promoter and see if there was going to be an update, right, on some fights and some fighters, that they have, right? And then all of a sudden, man, I see this post. I see this post, man, and I could have even, inquired about this actually a couple weeks earlier, but you know what? Hey, listen, they went ahead and they just went ahead and announced it, or at least this fighter announced it. Recent signee, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna see if I could go ahead and share this here real quick. Shout out to Marquise there in the live chat, man. Thanks, man. Like I said, 10 years, man. It's been a long grind up on this joint here, man. But just want to keep things going and keep things rocking here to talk about the great sport of boxing. So that's what I'm doing here. So all right, bet. So here we are, right? All right. So we got this here from the heavy hitting diva, of course, Franchon Cruz-Zern, right? And you're going to have the WBC and WBA Super Middleweight Championship on the line on Friday, June 6th, right? And thing about it is, right, this is going to be at the Turner Stone Resort Casino, right? And this is during Hall of Fame weekend, International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend, right? So you're going to have Franchon Cruz-Zern in there, going ahead and seeing if she could get this win here and be a unified, right? A unified champion. Now I had seen her out there at Bowie State University for Greg Sharpshooter Outlaws fight. You know what I mean? So I was chopping it up with her, there at the fights, but I ain't really inquired much about if she has something in the works or anything like that. But here we are on June 6th. She's going to be facing Citlali Ortiz there, and you're going to have the WBC and WBA super middleweight titles on the line. This is a Salida Promotions event. You're going to have a number of his fighters involved in this fight card, right? So, all right, I wanted to see if I could go ahead and share it, though. Hey, shout out to Sean Terrence there in the building, man. Shout out to you, man. I'm just trying to, do the work, try to be as, unbiased as possible, despite, some rumors that have been spread, some time back about me being a hater of a certain fighter. But we'll get into that hopefully here in a little bit. But yeah, I wanted to get back to this here real fast as far as talking about what's going on during International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend, right? Because that is Friday, June 6th. They usually have a fight card there at the Turner Stone Resort and Casino during that weekend. So you had those fights there, while they have, what I'd say, like a, welcoming ceremony, so to speak, there, whether it's Thursday or Friday. Saturday, they'll have, a banquet there. And then Sunday is the actual induction for the Hall of Fame class that they have there for the International Boxing Hall of Fame. That will be in Canastota, New York, right? And actually featured on there is Manny Pacquiao as a 2025 inductee who is reported to have a fight lined up later this year. You know what I mean? I don't understand. I bet. So let's see. Yeah, shout out to Alberto in the building. Yeah, it says, hey man, thanks. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to keep it going, try to keep things out here for boxing fans and all, you know what I mean, and try to get some more people to join on here through the channel here. So y'all sure to stay tuned here as within like 15 minutes, scheduled to have Deric Davis on here. Are you saying when I guess Backroom? I guess it's Backroom, right? I gotta see when he'll have his next or his first defense of that IBF title. If you're talking about Backroom Murtazaliev, right? The IBF 154-pound champion. I mean, there's like a number of contenders that are out there, available for him. Who he was talking about on social media, at least before Charles Conwell had his fight a few weeks back, right? He was like saying with Backroom, he was saying Charles Conwell, that name ain't necessarily big enough, you know. But hey, and we see what happened there with Charles Conwell. He ended up, losing, his bout, right? And so now you got Conwell that's kind of like, went down a couple of notches there within 154-pound rankings. And, coming up this week, you got Erickson Lubin versus Artrell Holmes. I think that is going to be a IBF eliminator bout, if I'm not mistaken. So the winner of that could be the one next in line to face Backroom. But I think he should have something lined up here in the interim. But also, they do have Keith Thurman rated number 10 in the IBF rankings. So maybe it's an outside shot, but maybe, he has a chance to face Keith Thurman, since Tim Tszyu ain't going to face Keith Thurman. Tim Tszyu is going to have that rematch with Sebastian Fundora. So, hey, maybe if they present Keith Thurman as an opponent for Backroom, if Keith Thurman is not going to face Jermell Charlo. That's a whole nother story there too, right? So a lot of things there going on within the 154-pound division as far as like news is concerned. And then, I talk about this thing right here with what's going on with Franchon Cruz-Zern. I was going to say the fight card that they have there for Hall of Fame weekend. It should be shown here. You got Josh Pagan, of course, Brandon Moore, Joseph Hicks, Franchon Cruz-Zern, DeVille Smith, Bryce Mills. A number of these fighters are featured by Salida Promotions. And once again, like I said, I don't know when, but I'm going to find out if I could get set up a conversation with Dimitri Salida here, I guess later this week, because like I said, I got, something for Tuesday, as we're going to be talking with Coach Ronnie Shields. Of course, we're going to have Joseph Heron on with us as a co-host for tomorrow. And Wednesday, we're going to have Brooklyn Barwick as a special guest here for the midweek report. And we're going to, talk a little bit more about the fights that are coming up May 10th here that features Erickson Lubin versus Artrell Holmes Jr. So there is that full fight card that they got there that's scheduled for June 6th. You also have there, as far as like that weekend, June 7th, as I mentioned, featuring the WBO lightweight title bout with Keyshawn Davis and Edwin De Los Santos, right? So, as I mentioned, you're going to have Deric Scooter Davis that's going to be on that card. We're going to get, some more updates as to, who else is or what the fight schedule is going to be on the card. You got, Abdullah Mason versus Jeremiah Nakathila on there. You got Keon Davis that's going to be on that card. Kelvin Davis, right, is supposed to be fighting Nahir Albright on that card as well. So it's shaping to be some real good action there at the Scope Arena coming up for June 7th. And yeah, I'm gonna be there in Norfolk for all of that. That's gonna be a hot card. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a hot fight card there for that, right? So, but that is like a lot of news there that's been going down. Of course, you had what was going on this weekend. Just real quick, as far as like a real, a quick analysis here before, later on down the line, I'm gonna, talk about it in depth as far as like the weekend goes, right? And this kind of like is to piggyback off of what Timothy Bradley said before the fights on Sunday. He pretty much said that those two events, particularly the event on Friday, was a flex. That we as this group could come into here, come in America, and do this event like this, not just because y'all had it, but because we can. I mean, last year you see what happened in Los Angeles with Tim Bradley. I mean, not Tim Bradley, but Terrence Crawford there against Israel Madrimov over in Los Angeles. Now you had this event that took place in Times Square that none of the public was able to see. It was invite only. Hmm. You've seen all of those fans that were standing out there, like about a couple blocks away, looking at large TVs and that type of stuff. You had that. You had what was going on the Saturday with Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull in a pretty small venue, and no, it wasn't sold out. You could see a whole bunch of empty seats in there. You know what I mean? So it just seemed like something where, okay, a number of these promoters are allowing Turkey Al Sheikh, or the Saudi entertainment thing, or whatever it's called, to go ahead and finance these events, because all it is just them financing boxing and saying, hey, okay, you got these fighters available, we'll pay them to see if they could go ahead and fight each other. But you know what? We're going to have it in Saudi Arabia, or we're going to have it in Times Square, or we're going to have it in wherever we have it at. That's why it looks like scheduled for next, what is it, July 12th, that they're trying to do something in Central Park. But at the same time, this is a big fight weekend. This is one of the biggest fight weekends in boxing. It's always been that way. Pretty much always been that way. From Canelo Alvarez to Floyd Mayweather Jr. to even like as far back as maybe like Oscar De La Hoya. You feel me? Like it's been one of the biggest boxing weekends. And yet, with it being a big boxing weekend, not many of the fight fans here in the United States were able to be there watching live to see these fights take place, regardless of what the fights were. So, as a fan of the sport, you're pretty much kind of like taking off from being able to see these fights. So it's like invite only, VIP, all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that stuff's going to work. We'll see what happens here for July, because we got a number of good fights that's supposed to be there for July over in, as they say, try to do it in Central Park. Let's see how they try to pull that off. Shout out to Bruce Gas in the building there. Of course, support Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more on YouTube. Alberto here with the question. You really believe that the Ryan versus Rolly card did 260,000 buys according to Ring Magazine? Nah, I don't. I don't. I don't. There's likely a way to have some people immediately find out, but I just don't bring myself to believe it. Given that it was, well, at least on a Friday for one, and it was at a specific or a certain time frame where a lot of this stuff had basically started around like 6 p.m. Eastern time, and it was pretty much done by like 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, right? So I don't think that there was enough interest for people to tune in right then and there. You feel me? You know, Bruce says, does that count Saudi bias? I don't know. I don't know if it would count Saudi bias, man. I don't know if it would count Saudi bias, because I don't know how that whole pay-per-view thing will work over there. You feel me? He says West Coast, it was at 3 p.m., started around 3 p.m. in California. Man, hey, but it reminds me of like when that Los Angeles fight card started. That started at what, like 3 p.m. Local time? And I know folks that were there in BMO Stadium from like around 3:30 p.m. until the last fight there between Terrence Crawford and Israel Majimov. That was around like 9:30 p.m. Eastern, not Eastern, but 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. Because I remember that I went to a local card, I think it was Davis Boxing Promotions, right? I was able to go to that card in DC, right? And then by the time I got back home, Eminem was still performing. Come on, man. So all of them joints there, as far as like, trying to make so much of an event of it's one thing because I mean, hey, I was able to go to one of those Riyadh season events there in Wembley Stadium where they had like a little bit of a concert there. They had someone performing there, so it makes for they try to do the like I said the whole entertainment thing, but as someone that's been to a number of these fights and fight cards, like I want these things to kind of like flow, pretty quickly. You feel me? Shout out to my guy Toby Bartlett here, being on this joint, right? You know what I mean? And yeah, yeah, they were giving away cars. They were giving away cars at the end of the fights. That was just funny, man. You know what I mean? Or it said like, hey, Bruce Cassidy, going, the historian. He's a great historian here when it comes to the sport of boxing. And he said he was doing that with the Rumble in the Jungle. Man, hey, listen, I know that was like a memorable fight, memorable moment, but I think what was it? I think Don King was the one that was part of that, right? Like probably Don King did something similar. You know what I mean? How many buys was Canelo school? Man, I don't know. I don't know. That fight. Listen, man. Oh man, hold up. I'll see if I can talk about that here in a little bit. But you know what? Right now, we got our special guest here that's ready to join us. You know what I'm saying? He's been doing this thing. Of course, he's been putting in work. He definitely been putting in work. You know what I mean? Uh, March 1st, March 1st was really, really, really big for this young man. You know what I'm saying? He showed up, he showed out against Jamal Johnson, took care of business there at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? He is now, with a record of 6-0 with 6 KOs. And like I said, like he's gonna be fighting on June 7th there, where he's gonna be looking to go 7-0 with 7 KOs. So I'm gonna bring him up here right now. Hey, as they say, man, it's shark season. You see him, it's Mr. Shark here.
For
Deric
sure.
Davis, what's happening?
What it do? How are you doing, man?
Oh man, I'm all good. I'm all good. Thankful for you to join us here. I said 10th anniversary of the Boxing Swords, doing these podcast things and all that, man. It's been
And
a
I'm
long
honored for you to have me, man. Thank
yeah,
you.
man. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So let's get right into it there. March 1st, right? Of course, you always out there, Barclays Center, fight
Yeah.
week. You was in there, getting in a gear and all that type of stuff, man, getting ready. And you know, during that fight week, it was something because at first, when I initially got there for fight week and they had the whole thing with the schedule,
Hmm.
initially, and we were talking about it, like, you're like, hey, yo, folks, we gotta show up, man, show up and show out for the shark. We gonna get in there, and at the time it was gonna be like the first bout on the card.
Yeah.
But then we had like a couple of cancellations and fights and that type of stuff, so things had to be moved around. And what
Hmm.
that did was that had your fight be the first fight that was on the YouTube
Yeah.
portion of the card and all that, or
Yeah.
whatever it
On the
was. So
prelims.
had you on the prelims, featured you on there. So that was like really, really big, for that to happen, man.
Yeah.
So talk about that shift there in the scheduling and how that worked out for you.
Yeah, when we got the schedule, of course, I was supposed to be the first bout that they had me the first bout, which was fine. I was just happy to be on the card. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And as the weigh-in was going and we didn't find out really to the weigh-in, and they had came to me, and was asking me for all this information, and it didn't dawn on me at that moment. But then, like my dad and my mom and stuff, they were just like looking at me, smiling and stuff. So they had got the email and the call to know that I
Mm.
was gonna be on TV. So I'm like, what's going on? And they was like, check your phone. And when I checked my phone, it said that I was the first bout starting the prelim. And I just got really excited. I just ran. And it was cool though, but I mean, it was just God. I don't really know why. I ended up being the bout because it was bouts that were not televised that end up going, and the guys, guys had more fights or experience or went more rounds. But I think ultimately, just God just put me in that position. They picked me to open up the bout, and I'm just glad that I got that opportunity. I showed the world what I had. You know what I mean? So It was
Yeah,
great.
yeah. I was out there for the weigh-in, and yeah, they were like, chopping it up there with you, and then like you said, it was like, oh snap, hey, now I'm back
Yeah,
on this, so it's time, I'm in the
literally,
gig.
literally, it was literally just
Mhm.
like that. Like during the way, it was like no, like they was like, no, you going on stage. I'm like, wait, what? What you mean?
Yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, they were chopping it up with you there, before the weigh-in, but you were like, hey, like, I don't care, man. It's still showtime. It's still shark season and
Yeah,
everything like that. So, once they had, restructured everything, and then they had, a couple of fights there, that happened, and then they started up,
hey, these
things
some
there
fire
for
pictures. I
the
might not. I don't got these pictures now. You got to hold on now. Hold on.
man, hey man, like I said, man, like I said, it's been like back to back to back to back events, man. So I had these joints here from the weigh-in and the fight and all that type of stuff,
Yeah,
man. So
I'm gonna have to
I
collect them up off you, man.
yeah,
You
yeah,
got
yeah,
some
man,
fire.
yeah,
You know, you
man.
got a fire eye right there. I like this.
Yeah, because I mean, I had the joints, man. I had to, maneuver. I had to maneuver a little bit. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Because I was like right behind, the main folks there for PBC and all of that type
Yeah,
of stuff. So they had to do what they had to do, and then I had to maneuver around them and be able to get the pictures there for the waiting and that type of stuff. You feel me?
yeah. Nah,
Uh,
these are nice. These are definitely some sweet flicks for sure. Yeah, he got the exclusive photo. Yeah, yeah. See how he do me, man.
hey,
We
come
get
on,
all
brother.
Holly. He start doing podcasts for 10 years. Now he get all Hollywood on me. I see what's going on.
Come on, man. Oh man, yo, yeah, but I mean, you had that thing there, of course. Like I said, you had the readjust as far as like the scheduling and stuff like that,
Hmm.
because what they usually do there for fights is they'll tell you a certain time when you got to arrive at the
Hmm.
venue and that type of stuff, so you'll be able to get ready enough. But
Hmm.
with them switching this up here, you had this fight here with Jamal Johnson that's a
Hmm.
little bit later than what you were scheduled to be at. You know what I mean? So that kind of like was something there where you could like say, hey, okay, I could collect a little more time to collect myself, getting the gear and
Hmm.
everything like that, because like I was saying, I mean, even that day before, I'm like, yo, I gotta make sure that I'm in the building at like 3:30 or 4 p.m. so
Yeah,
I don't miss the shark. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
when they switched this up, I was like, okay, now they got that going down. That's what's up.
Yeah, it was a blessing, man. It was a great night for sure, 100%. I think everybody had a hand in getting me on that card, and everything came together. The outfit was amazing. My team was dressed amazing. I did my thing in the ring. I was safe. Me and my opponents were safe. So it was great. It was a great night. Just now it's time to do another one.
Yeah, for sure, man. You definitely showed up and showed out there. Once you turned it up and turned it on, man, it was it was a wrap, man. It was a wrap, man. Yeah, you was like done, man. Hey man, you had like all right. He said something about exclusive photos or something like that, man. I mean, he had something like
Yeah,
sitting
yeah.
right
See,
there.
man.
You know what I mean?
There
You know what
you
I'm
go,
saying?
man. You got all the exclusives, man. I gotta. Yeah, we gonna talk after this episode.
Yeah, man. So you were able to, knock him down a couple of times there, and after that, like second knockdown, it was like, dog. Referee Rick Gonzalez was like, nah, dog, you ain't taking this, you ain't taking no more punishment, man. It's a wrap, dog. You done, you through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So you were able to get that win there. Like I said, you were able to be 6-0 with 6 KOs.
Mhm.
Number of these fights, man, it ain't even last no longer than but 2 rounds if that, for a number of the
Yeah.
fights here that you had so far there. But it all stems down to the work that you've been doing in the gym and
Mhm.
things like that too. So, and especially with this one here, you had the camp there out at Headbangers, and doing work with a number of people there within the camp and all that type of stuff. So talk about that type of preparation there to get you ready for the fight there against Johnson.
It was amazing. Everybody know that Tank came down here, so I was training with Tank side by side every day. For a good 2.5 months. Being next to him every day was just amazing. He's a pound for pound king right now. I mean, pay per view king right now. And it was just great just to get Jules and see his work ethic and him competing with me and us just talking and bonding and everything. It was amazing. He, showing me moves and telling me what I need to do more and look out for this. And I was just picking up gems, every other day. It was amazing. Then we just worked hard. We really worked hard for that entire camp. Pretty much doing 2 a days almost every day for about 6 days out of the week. You know what I mean? So I knew we was in some shape. I knew that, and he was just telling me about seizing the moment of the opportunity, how it was going to be, and what I'm saying, just go out and do me. Don't worry about the lights. Don't worry about none of the people. Just do me. Do what what I'm saying, I was born to do. So it was actually fun for me, man. I was relaxed. I was just ready to go. And then it was like in that moment in the picture, that was kind of just like I'm here, man. Like I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody, everybody might not have been calling my name about a year ago or a couple months ago, whatever. But now it's
Mhm.
like I'm here. You know who Scooter Davis is. You know it's
Yeah.
shark season, and I'm the next prospect up. You know what I mean? So just stay tuned. That's how I really. That's really everything I was saying in that picture right there. Like I'm
Mhm.
here, and all the work that I done, throughout the months, throughout not even all my career, honestly, not even just those months. That was
Mhm.
the emotion coming out at that moment. Like I'm here.
Yeah, for sure. And you talk about being in the gym and doing 2 days. That's how they doing football sometimes, especially like back in high school or whatever it is, doing 2 days. Know that you had like a little bit of a stint in football there, when
Yeah,
you was
yeah.
a little youth and stuff like that. So you kind of like know how that goes. But with doing that, you kind of like have the thing there where you stay sharp on different things as far as like endurance, timing, speed, movement, all that type of stuff there, and also with strength and conditioning too. Because
Hmm.
hey, if y'all listening right now and you haven't like followed Deric Scooter Davis on YouTube and his episodes on YouTube, y'all missing out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Shout out to all the folks there that's been making all that possible. The videographer,
Yeah,
the
man. Shout
director,
out Shark TV. Shout out my guy, brother Caleb, man. We make
yeah,
all the
yeah,
great episodes of
yeah.
Shark TV. Everybody that had a hand in it, man. It's amazing. It's just to show my journey and what I'm doing in my regular day life to become a world champion, a professional boxer. So it's amazing. We really put our hard work into that. So I'm glad that you enjoyed it for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean that's been a dope thing there as far as like following the journey and that type of stuff there. So you had like what is it about like 9, 10 episodes on
Yeah.
the joint already there. So that's the thing, man. So if y'all want to like catch up because it was like going from before the fight that we had
Hmm.
here and then you had the actual fight, so you get to see like some exclusive views there.
Hmm.
While Scooter Davis is taking care of business, and then after that, the aftermath of that, and continuing to follow his journey here as he goes here for his next bout up. And speaking of that, because it has something here that's on the live chat, and I said, hey, before Alberto there got on, what I'm saying, we were talking about it. June 7th, we on. June
Yeah,
7th.
man.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we ESPN, man. Here comes Mr. Shock. I thank everybody from Top Rank and all the people that reached out. I want to thank Brad for just reaching out to fight saying he want to put me on. Everybody in my team for making everything possible. I'm just ready to go, man. It's I feel like I'm starting to become mainstream a little bit, so I'm ready to just keep producing, and everybody to be excited to see me. So I definitely am guaranteeing fireworks because I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna be doing my thing, and just know it's Shock season. It's time for Shock season to go to ESPN.
Exactly. That June 7th, Scope Arena, ESPN. You're gonna see the Shark and
Yes.
Shark season. Scooter Davis there, man. I can't wait. Like I said, it's just a little bit of a drive by the 3.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
Down from the area there, man. What is it? The Interstate 64 though. That they need more lanes on the point, man. For real,
They
because
don't
man,
know. They don't know about that traffic. They don't know that about that traffic.
they need more lanes on that because like
Yeah.
hey you can be good on 95 unless you're going down Woodbridge, but after that and then you hit 64 then it's like
Yeah.
come on man, you know what I'm saying, because you got even when you go through that bridge, it's like, oh, come on,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean? But we gonna be on this joint here, man, and that type of
sure.
stuff. So we definitely gonna be ready. And you talk about the thing there with Brad Goodman. I think it is there, matchmaker there,
Yes,
Hall of Fame matchmaker there at
yes,
top rank. So he is able to make things possible as far as like getting the car put together, and then made the phone call and say, hey, we got
yeah.
this thing going down.
He literally like he literally like reached out like as soon as I got out the ring. It was crazy.
Mhm,
It was crazy. Like he was just like basically asking was I did I have any ties or anything and would I like to be on this undercard, and it was like like I was kind of surprised like dang already like y'all they like that's when my coach Barry was saying they liked you kiddo, so things like this gonna be happening. So I was just amazed and I was, happy. I just was feeling just blessed, man. Finally that, what I've been doing all my life is finally been able to be recognized. I get to show my
mhm,
talent to the world. And that's all I really want to do. I want to show the world that I'm special and show the world that I'm the next star. I feel like I have the complete package. I feel like that when it becomes into, being another pay-per-view star. So I feel like it's just another stepping stone to show people who I am and meeting me and seeing what I do. So I'm just grateful that they gave me another opportunity like this, and I'm ready to shine, man. Show the world who I am. It's Mr. Shock.
yeah, and that is the thing about being part of that card there with a lot of exposure there at the Barclays Center is that a number of people finally see what Shark Season is all about
Yeah,
there, and now you're involved in this one there. That's going to have, of course, a DB3 there. Like I was mentioning there, Keyshawn Davis defending his WBO lightweight title. You're going to have Kelvin Davis in there against Nahir Albright. You got Keon Davis that's gonna be getting right back in the ring. He was just in the ring here a couple of days ago too. So he's been definitely busy out there. We got another local fighter there, of course, contender there, Troy Isley.
mm-hmm.
Transformer Troy Isley is gonna be on
Mm-hmm.
it. So like I said, I mean this card is gonna be stacked. It's gonna have a lot of fans in there at the Scope Arena for this one, man. And I was trying to see if it'd be like the last time I was at Scope Arena. We probably could get, now the head coach of Norfolk State football there, Mike Vick, to show up
Yeah,
there in the building there once again too. So
yeah.
you're gonna get
Shout
some of
out,
the
Mike, man. He actually sponsored my outfit for the Barclays Center. So shout out to
okay.
him. I have a great relationship with him. He definitely told me he definitely gonna be in the building. He's excited to see me fight again. So I'm ready just to, put on a show for, all the people that, saying around the world, but definitely for
Mhm.
like Vic was my favorite player, so it feels a little different when you see somebody that idolized growing up. So I can't wait
Yeah.
to show him what I could do too.
Yeah, for sure. It's one thing, when you idolize your player like that. For me being as old as I am, like he's pretty much like around the same age as me. So I was seeing them, out there at Virginia Tech and doing this thing at Virginia Tech, back in the day.
Hmm.
Shout out to my guy, the topic here in the building. He asked how many rounds they have scheduled for you if they got that
That's a
late.
six rounder, my first six rounder for
Okay.
sure. Yeah,
Yep,
my
yep.
first six rounder.
But like I was saying before, I mean, you only been out there for like 1 or 2 rounds, you know what I mean? So I mean, it's scheduled for six, but I
Yeah,
mean, hey, man,
it's scheduled for six. Let's say that it's scheduled for
yeah,
six.
scheduled for six there, man. So wanted to go back into this joint here, like because after March 1st, the folks was like, yo, look at this guy, man. And Scooter Davis, man, he's doing this thing. He was able to get a first round knockout, and he looks very talented. And okay, I want to know more about him. And so, you've been out there, you've been chopping it up with a few people, man. So how
Yeah.
is it to kind of like have that, increase of well, I would say like a schedule of saying, hey, okay, I gotta make it to this, I gotta make it to this. I gotta still go out to headbangers and train and then still, try to schedule something to, talk with these people, man. So how has that been here so far?
It's been different, but far as my training is always first. So I might not open a DM and miss an interview because I've been training or I wasn't even thinking about interviews, and it
Hmm.
kind of be surreal to me a little bit sometimes. That, like, oh wait, y'all want to talk to me? You know what I mean? Or you want to get to know me? So I love it.
Yeah.
all the new people that wanted to interview me or learn about me. It's great. It's a great experience getting that exposure. But at
Hmm.
the end of the day, I mean, I feel like it's just a stepping stone. There's gonna be more to come, so I'm not falling in love with just getting interviews. But it's amazing. It's amazing feeling to finally be seen by the
Hmm.
boxing world, and the boxing world wanting to get to know who I am and where I come from and why I do what I do. So yeah, it's great. It's definitely a great feeling for sure.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Now, in one of the episodes there, of course, there with Shark Season and Shark TV, I think it
Yeah.
had like your father on there, right? And we talks about the whole journey and how you've basically been ready since like as I say, a young buck, man.
Mhm.
That you've been ready for this opportunity. Once you started boxing and everything like that, like this is the kind of spotlight that you've been waiting for. But at the
Yeah.
same time, like you just said, you're still hungry, you're still on the grind, you're still in the gym, you're still doing your thing there in the gym because you know that there's still more that you have to do, what you have to accomplish here in the sport of boxing. So like, how is it to kind of like get from that point there where you were around like 6, 7, 8 years old to like currently right now?
I feel like I just been ordained to do something. God touched me and chose me to do something special, and I feel like I had this light and this aura around me. So I know it's something destined great for me. I'm pushing to do it, and I'm not gonna be satisfied until I finally like scratch that itch. And I don't know what it's gonna be. You know what I mean? I don't honestly. People. Of course, your every fighter's dream is to be a world champion, but I feel
Hmm.
like even after that, like that's not my. I mean, that's my goal. That's one of the stepping stones. But again, my goal is it's in dream is to be one a household name, a pay per view star that where people paying their hard earned money around the world to see me on their TV. Want to come out to see me. I want to be the guy, not just one of the guys. I want to be the guy. So until
Hmm.
I feel like I'm the guy, then I feel like okay, I did it. And even once I become the guy, you know what I mean. It's not like the work is over. It's like
Right.
now everybody's gunning for me. So, but I'm the type of person, I'm the type of fighter where when the pressure is on, when the lights is brightest, or when everybody feel like they gotta get me, or I'm the measuring I'm gonna get better because I'm not gonna let nobody catch me because the amount of work I've been putting in for the years, and I just feel like I'm the best in the business, and it's all about time and my taking my time in this sport. I'm not gonna jump out there too early. I'm going to mature as a fighter, learning, saying throughout these 4 rounders, 6 rounders, 8 rounders. I ain't trying to just jump and go say and call out no names, which I probably never be a person that really call
No.
out names anyway, because I just feel like that my skills are going to speak for me. I don't have to do all that, bashing no other fighters. Is whoever the people, say my handlers line up, and I'm going to keep knocking them down, and eventually y'all going to see and understand I'm the real deal. That's all.
Yeah, that's the thing about it is, you even, what you've been doing so far, you stay humble, you stay focused, you stay, just right there in line for, what you want to do and what you're, basically doing here at this particular point. So, that's all it is just saying like, hey, you know what? I'm calm, cool, collected, and just
Yes.
ready for the next moment. That's pretty much
Yeah,
all it is.
that's all, man. I can't. I'm just excited just to be, in my name in the light. You know what I mean? Now it's like, okay, now if people are taking my name and hearing me as saying I'm a prospect and like bet, all right, y'all think that's something. Now I'm gonna show y'all something else. Like I just want to keep growing and keep putting on dominant performances for the world, so they can keep saying like, man, that kid is nice. That kid is the one. Okay, yeah, like yeah, because I really feel like I am that, and I know I am that. It's all about just timing, man. A lot of people want to be them guys that rush fast and get it too fast or do all this for these belts. Like, no, I'm going to create the buzz. I'm going to continue to keep building, keep knocking guys out, keep, saying just making Shark Season a bigger brand. And when it's time to finally take them, send them title fight step ups or whatever, we're gonna do that. And I'm gonna show the world that I'm really special and I'm one of them guys. I'm one of the best fighters out here. I've been working my whole life for this, you know what I mean? So that's what my father meant pretty much about me being ready, like my entire life. I never was a person that was ever shying away from the stage or shying away from the big moments. I always wanted to be the person in the big moments that was going to take the shot or have the ball or do whatever. So now in boxing, it's like, oh, it's 18,000 people here to see me. and they want to see me for this title, okay, now I'm gonna give you the best version of me because I'm just a Showtime type of fighter. That's just what it is.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I said here, you had this upcoming fight at the Scope Arena there in June 7th. And, my thing with the last bout that you had on March 1st, it
Hmm.
was all about, stealing the show. And I said, like, a number of the fighters there that's going to be featured are from the area, whether it's, they're in Norfolk, they're with DB3,
Hmm.
like I said, they're with Troy Isley there being from Alexandria area and all that type of stuff. And now, you're here in DC and whatnot. So, you're like, hey, you know what? Once I show up, I want to be able to see, hey, if I had that moment to steal the show, there, that's going to be part
Yeah,
of
man.
the
I'm just going there to do me, man. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I always realize I ain't going to go press for no performance or do nothing extra special. I'm going to do me, and every time I do me, something amazing happens. So y'all just stay tuned in. Don't blink. I'm training. I've been training. I never really got out the gym.
Mm,
Honestly, it was I never really got out the gym at all. Anyway, but
word.
I really went all the way back. Of course, I found out about the fight after I got out the ring. So I literally fought on Saturday, drove home Sunday, Monday morning. I was back in the gym, and I've been training ever since.
Mm,
So it's,
mm.
you know what I mean. So it's not it's a lifestyle. I'm ready for this. This is all I got to do is get to the point of just showing up to the stage and doing what I do. Because at this point, the preparation is there. My mind is right. My mind is clear. I'm just ready to go, man. I'm just ready to go. Can't wait.
Yeah, exactly. There. Now, had the of course, like, lines open. If folks listening in, that they had a question there for Scooter Davis, you could call in on the hotline right there. Now, you talk about doing the work there, at headbangers, and we continue to mention there. Like, you're there with Coach Barry Hunter, Coach Boogie, as I say, Patrice Harris there. And how much work they've been doing with you and
Mhm.
others there within our headbangers. So being part of that program, like, what is it to continue to work with Coach Barry and Coach Boogie Harris?
That's amazing, man. These are guys I've been around for 12 plus years now. So it's just amazing just to see them. Even though they're getting up in age, still being able to keep up with me, and what I'm saying, still staying sharp. Coach Boog is still doing all his 100 punch combinations just as fast and reacting, just as fast as I am at 22, and he's in his 50s. You know what I mean? So it's amazing to see that Coach Barry still being sharp on the paddles and still being able to give, insightful instructions. Everything is just amazing at, the Headbangers Boxing Gym. So I'm appreciative of them guys, and they always let me know, like, after me, I'm their swan song, so they gonna ride into the sunset. So that's a big honor. That's a big, opportunity that I have, and I'm grateful that they putting their everything into me, and then after me, it's just gonna be done.
Word. So, I mean, that's the thing there. You have a lot to look towards, and a lot, pretty much, they say, like, a lot on your shoulders there, because they're like, hey, you the one that we gonna ride, as far as, like, getting to a certain spot there within the sport of boxing, and things like that. So that's got to be something there, as far as, like, you, like you said, you're staying focused and working hard because you know what they want for you. And so
Hmm.
you're like, hey, I got to make sure that I do it for them. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Yep.
that's what you got there. Now, we talked about it earlier there, as far as, like, the camp that you had for the fight of March 1st there, with Tank Davis and things like that. But you also was working with a number of other fighters there, other young fighters there, that's part of it. So, like, how is it to be part of that team there, Handbaggers, with a lot of the other fighters there?
It's great. I mean, everybody, everybody's striving to do their own thing and do their goals. Everybody, whether it's amateurs or professional, whatever. But we all are, saying, have a brotherhood like brothers. We all train together. We're all doing the thing. So everybody's rooting for each other, getting each other better. Um, of course, the longest reigning person in there now that been with me is Nasheed, and which he's about to fight this weekend. So
Yeah,
I'm,
yep.
getting him ready and talking to him mentally and making sure he's correct and doing everything he's doing, and he's pushing me, knowing that I got a big opportunity. So it's just great to have people just right there to push you to, saying, be a better you, other than your coaches. And even the times that as a athlete, you don't feel like doing certain things, you got your brother right there to push you, like, come on, we're gonna do this extra mile. Come on, we're gonna do these extra sit-ups, even though we don't feel like it, or So it's amazing, man. I love it. I love just being around the guys that really want to work hard, really want to be great, because it makes you just surround yourself with greatness. So you have no
Mhm.
choice but to be great or have great results.
Yeah, exactly. There you talk about there. Nasheed Sugar Sheet Smith has his upcoming fight May 10th. Should be at the Rose Star Raceway there. So, definitely looking forward to that. So, I'll be
Look
making
out
the
for
trip
my
out there
boy.
to,
He's gonna do his
show up.
thing
You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Now, talking about all being part of that brotherhood there, at Headbangers Gym, but also we talk about it a lot with being from DC in the DC area and a number of the talented fighters there in DC. So it's like here you're another one of those young upcoming rising stars out there within DC that's definitely wants to do the thing and show up and show out there. So like talk about being part of that as they say fraternity and stuff like that as far as like the legacy of DC fighters and stuff like that.
Yeah, with DC definitely and DC Maryland definitely been having some of the coldest fighters out for a long time, even ones that the world didn't even get to see. But we just have a lot of great fighters. Even the next generation of fighters coming up is great. I'm just happy for everybody doing their thing. Even the people fighting on the pro box fighters that just fought.
Hmm.
Just happy for anybody, even the people that's fighting at Rosecroft this week. Everybody that's doing their thing. My objective, honestly, though, is to be the lead horse. With it, I want to be that. I'm striving to be it when you think of DC boxing or you think of Maryland boxing. It's like Scooter. That's the guy. You know what I'm saying? That's my goal, and there's no disrespect to nobody in DC, but that's just me. That's how I work. That's how I get
Right.
myself going. I want everybody. I
Hmm.
want to be that big. I want to be that person where it's like, yeah, nah. He the one. That's the one. Or
Hmm.
when you say, "Oh yeah, I know a fighter down there. They're talking about me." That's my goal, man. But shout out to all the fighters out here, man. We either done fought around in the amateurs, been around each other, went traveling on
Yeah.
trips or sparred or whatever. And man, we got some hell of a fighters out here. They're definitely doing their thing. A lot of fighters definitely should be getting light and should be getting, being on these big mainstream cards. Hopefully they get those, see these opportunities in the future. I just know that I'm going to seize my moment, like I seized my moment at March 1st. So, and hopefully once I do my thing, maybe I can open the door for other fighters behind me.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like you said, you season over there March 1st, and then we got this thing here coming up June 7th. So, but it's like you said, you want to be like that next era of the fighter that people talk
Yeah,
about when they say DC and everything like that. Like we got
yeah.
Stage era and what was going on before, but you want to be pretty much at that type of level
And
here.
what they
Coming
say,
up.
the leader of the new school. Like, yeah, I
Yeah,
want to be the leader of the new school. I
word.
kind of put Tank and Lamont and what is it, Mike Reeves and the YG Pass and Professor. They in a different era than us. I love them guys. They definitely have put on for the city. Even the Russells, they done put on for the city, you know what I mean, so much, and but they're not exactly in my era, so I'm not even really talking about them guys. I'm talking really for the young guys. I'm really trying to, what I'm saying, set myself apart and separate
Word.
myself from the rest of the pack to say no, he's the one, he's the guy that's doing this thing. He's the one that everybody knows or everybody wants to see, and that's my objective. And then from just out after DC to DMV, then the world. I want to separate from the whole world and
Word.
say, oh, that's the guy. That's the he is the guy in boxing. That's my goal.
Word, for sure, for sure. So I wanted to bring in another panelist here that's been a great panelist over the course of the year. She had the Boxing Source here. Of course, he's like the host of Brunch Boxing on X. Of course, my guy Matt is here in the building, and he
Uh,
was in he
How
was
you
in the
doing?
building there for the Barclays Center when you had your fight there
For
with
sure.
Chakas. And so he was able to see what you were able to do there too. So what's up,
Thanks. I
Matt?
appreciate you.
hey man, first of all, happy 10th birthday to the boxing source, man.
Yeah.
Like it's a celebration tonight. Shout out to you, Scooter.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. 100%. I appreciate it. Thank you.
What you're doing, man. I like to see the new era of the DC guys, the DMV area guys. I know y'all guys are doing your thing over there. I was just talking to Mike Fox the other day, and
Hmm.
you were one of the guys that he mentioned as one of the new generation that came up behind them. But you guys are really like putting on for the city.
Hmm. Yeah, man. Shout out to Mike Fox. He got a fight coming up too. He
Yeah,
definitely got a
yeah,
fight coming up.
he gonna be fighting Sergey Boychuk there
Yeah,
in
he
a
has a
couple
fight
weeks.
coming up.
So
He kind of, yeah, he definitely done gave me many rounds. Him and his brother Alantez. I love both of them guys. But yeah, like you said, I'm one of the guys. It's a lot of us, man, in this DC group, the Rising Stars, man, that have have potential to do great things. It's just all about getting that spotlight and that spotlight and seizing the moment. That's all. But
yeah,
the guys got to get their opportunity. They're gonna get their opportunity. You know what I mean? And I hope that I pray that they strive and they do their thing. You know what I mean? Because I'm not no hater at all. You know what I mean? I want everybody to do their big one, man. Because so we work so hard in this game. We dedicate our life to this sport. We really hard. We got some really talented fighters, and I want them to get their flowers as well.
yeah, exactly. It's all about
Yeah, no
them
doubt, no
getting.
doubt.
You feel me?
Yeah,
Now, yeah, go ahead, Matt.
yeah. I was gonna ask you, man, what kind of motivation was it to you to see that big ass event at the Barclays Center? Two DC brothers, DMV brothers, Tank
Mhm.
and Lamont headlining a huge event. What kind of motivation was that for you?
I was big motivation, man. Seeing that, two guys from my city, what I mean, that could make millions of dollars, could be a pay-per-view attraction, could be, at the highest point of the sport. It was a amazing opportunity for me to be on that car, and it was a big motivation to say, like, yeah, I could do this one day. Like seeing this, like, yeah, they let me know it's possible. It's not, my dream is not far fetched. It's not impossible. It's just I got to work hard enough, stay humble, and keep doing my thing. Keep God first, and keep knocking these heads in. And as I would keep doing that, man, my opportunities will come. So definitely shout out to both of them guys, man. They both have gave me opportunities in my boxing professional career. With Lamont putting me on his undercards and throwing my first, pro debut, and with Tank, saying stepping in and say, hey, I want him on this card, put me on the Barclays Center's card. So it's amazing, man. I just thank both of them guys deeply because without them, I probably wouldn't be in the same position. So it's their big motivation to me, 100%.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. And you talk about it as far as like them, being able to, give you those opportunities, man. You're able to, like I said, there at the entertainment and sports arena, there from the last year, you're able to, do your thing on that too. So that was definitely big on that front,
Hmm.
to get that opportunity and be part of that particular card there on Pro Box, man. And
Yeah.
since my guy was talking about like the exclusive photos and stuff like that, man, because I was out there, of course, for that
Yeah,
too.
man. You are about to say, there you go with the
You know what I
exclusive photo.
mean?
There you go.
So
Look. See?
see,
You
uh,
always you gonna have stuff in the vault. I'm gonna
yeah,
be
yeah.
20-0, and you're gonna have stuff from my fourth and third fight. I'm gonna be like, dang, I ain't even got them pictures.
Nah, man,
Mhm.
we gonna raise something. You know what I'm saying? I think I got with contacts. I'll be able to come up with a link there for with the album and all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
We'll get
appreciate it. I
things there
appreciate
out there
that,
to
man.
you. You know what I mean? Because yeah, we try to document everything as far as like document the journey and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You got of course what's going down on video, of course there with your channel, but also gotta
just
have
tell
it.
a thousand words,
You know what I
man.
mean? You know what I'm saying? So definitely have to have that there out there for you, man. So like I said, hey, come June 7th, we'll pretty much like have it again. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
man.
So,
Hey, we trying to keep repeating history, man. Keep getting them
yeah,
knockouts, man. Keep getting that hand raised. You know what I mean? That's
yeah,
that's my goal, man. My goal is just to
yeah.
keep doing my thing, man. I appreciate y'all always for, covering me, always giving me love and always having, genuine energy when we come across each
Mhm.
other. So thank you. Just from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Now, quick shout out to Michael Williams there, Top Rank. He's like the main, photo dude out there at Top Rank.
Yeah.
So he'll be pretty much there ringside. But me, I'm gonna probably be in a little bit of another area. I don't know about ringside. It just depends on how they gonna work that. But Michael Williams, he got his team there at Top Rank. He'll definitely get it going there as far as like with the fight coming up there on June 7th, man. Let's see here, Matt. You still out there with us? I
Yeah,
see
yeah,
if you.
yeah. I'm here. I'm here. No, I'm here. It's just that I'm trying to put in my parlay right now. Cause this double OKC game about to start
Oh
trying to
yeah,
get this parlay in. So I'm like going in between screens right now.
I feel you. I
Trying
feel
to
you.
get
I
this
feel you.
parlay in.
Yeah, you
I
gotta get the
feel
parlay before the game start because the odds
Yeah,
drop.
yeah.
Nah, I got it.
you. Yeah.
I'm picking up what you putting down.
Word there, man. But definitely looking forward to this thing upcoming here June 7th. And the thing too with that is like you getting right back in the ring, like you said, you had the phone call like right after your fight there on March
Definitely.
1st. So it's looking like, hey, you'll be able to try to get, a couple more fights in after this one. You know what I mean?
Hey man, you know what I'm saying? God willingly, man. Hopefully, after this fight, they offer me something else or another offer come across the table because I look, saying I did amazing in my, my fight. And that's all I'm looking for. I'm just want to keep racking up these wins, racking up these knockouts, man. Until somebody finally say like, yeah, nah, I need him on my team. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
that's the goal. I don't really have. I'm unsigned right now, so at the point
yeah,
I'm a free agent when it comes to I can move around and do what I need to do.
yeah,
But I don't hopefully that I look so good where I might not have to go nowhere no more, or you know what I mean? Or hopefully I look so good that another promotion company say that they wanna lock it in. Whatever they do, I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
happy, man. I'm just happy
yeah.
to be
That's
on
the
the
thing
card.
about it. Yo,
I'm just happy to be on the card and man, being able to show my talent to the world. As long as I'm being able to show my talent to the world, that's all I can ask for.
Word, it's basically like an advertisement. Like you show yourself as an advertisement. You see how talented I am. You see what I could do in the ring. You see what I could do outside the ring, and that type of stuff. They see that they have a good amount of people there that are looking to see you fight or looking forward to seeing you fight. They're like, yo, I want to invest in Derek Scooter Davis. So
Yeah.
that's the thing about it is getting into these fights or getting into these fight cards, and then having that particular opportunity
Yep.
to
Having
go
the
ahead
right
and
pair of eyes looking at me, man. That's all. You don't never know who's watching, but you just want to have the right pair of eyes looking at you. You want to perform on that level so they can, saying, say, yeah, nah, I could do something with him. And believe just me, I believe that I have the complete package. I can walk it. I can talk it. You know what I mean? I can fight. I am intelligent. I have power. I have speed. I'm very, very marketable. I speak well. I can articulate myself. I'm just feel like that. I'm in a whole nother league than saying the people coming up. But that's all for me to continue to keep showing, and that's what I'm gonna do. Until finally somebody finally sees what I see, because I know I'm special. I know I'm great. I know I'm anointed, and it's just time to just show everybody, show the world. So
yeah, yeah, for sure, man. And that's the thing about it is making sure that happens here coming up June 7th. So once we get more information about who your opponent is, and of course they had the thing scheduled for 6 rounds and whatnot. So we definitely looking forward to all of that
yeah,
too.
I
So
definitely. I mean, I definitely signed. My contract is signed already. I do. I don't know if it shows on BoxRec yet, but I definitely know who my opponent is and
okay.
the record and everything. So I don't know if I'm supposed to disclose that yet because I guess they ain't put it on BoxRec yet. So I might not.
Yeah. Well, I ain't seen it on Box Rec yet, and I have contact with. Well, I could probably send a text out there, but I mean, I have contact with a couple folks here, so
Yeah.
they,
But
they
yeah,
have.
it's definitely locked in 100%. My contract is signed, sealed, delivered. Um, yeah, man, this is supposed to be a good fight, and they gonna see, man. I'm excited. They gonna see how I get down. It's shock season. Mr. Shock is not playing. It's ready. It's his time to open up to the world.
Yeah, not playing at all, not playing at all. So definitely looking forward to that fight coming up there. And yeah, I'm gonna see about if I can send a text to see what's going down as far as like if the bullet locked in or not. But I mean, hey, if you don't want to disclose it, that's
Hey,
cool.
listen. If he know
Oh, it's
the
breaking up. I can't hear him.
Oh, he got the
us.
earplugs
No,
on.
no, I was saying if he know the opponent, he could tell us. It don't got to be on air. He can tell us off air. I
Oh yeah,
mean,
we could do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, we could do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll see if we can do that off air or later on down the line. Either it'll be broken, the sword will be broken by either the boxing source or brush boxing.
Yeah. Oh, this is the bro. Okay, okay. I know exactly. I'm supposed to be
Yeah,
doing. I'm supposed to be my. Hey, my apologies. I'm supposed to definitely be doing an interview. I told you my DM's been crazy.
yeah,
Man,
yeah,
I'm definitely supposed to be doing a space with him. You know,
yeah,
I'm
Yes.
definitely
Hey,
going.
listen.
We definitely
We
going to
gonna
get
lock
onto
it in,
that.
man. We gonna
Yeah,
lock it
yeah,
in.
man.
Yeah, yeah.
It's it, man. I and
well,
honestly,
hey,
it's really. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't be on Twitter that much. You know, I'm not a person that
word,
really be on Twitter. So like, when DM me on Twitter, it's kind of like, I don't really even go on there too much. I check and scroll a little bit, but I ain't really like on there. I'm more on Instagram more to post than and but definitely I'm going to send you my personal number so you can hit me. We can set this up because I definitely owe you this interview and space. So we definitely gonna lock it in. So I appreciate you for hooking this up too because
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
great for
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
'cause, that's the thing about it, because part of what I was going to do, particularly from the last time, right,
Mhm.
was to make sure that we get Deric Scooter Davis name out there. That's what I
Yeah,
was talking about during
hey,
fight
man,
week.
that's
You know what I
I
mean?
thank you
But
guys, man.
you know what
I
I'm
thank
saying.
you.
But after what happened there on March 1st, oh man, you know what I'm saying, that they blew up. You feel me?
Man, it
So
was amazing, man.
yeah,
My page, I literally went from like probably like 70K to like 100K in a matter of like like a day. It was crazy, and then even like people just was reacting to my videos, and
right.
I had people getting like 2 million videos, 2 million views reacting to my knockout, and
Yeah,
even
yeah.
my knockout myself on this page, I think it just reached 2 million today. So it's still replaying today. So every day I go on
Hmm.
Instagram, I keep seeing people comment or say stuff. It's like wow. Even on the Premier Boxing,
Right.
I think it got 1 million views on that or some. Yeah, I had two videos, but one of them for sure hit 1 million, and that was a great. It was an amazing feeling, man. I felt like it was. I felt like I was finally seeing, and even now, even going to the store or something like that, people be like, "Oh, I seen you fight on TV," and it just warms my heart. Like, wow, finally, and the work that I'm putting in all behind the scenes is finally getting this recognition, and
Hmm.
I'm just happy, man. Thank you, thank you for everybody to had a hand and to give me my exposure, trying to get my name out there, preaching my name to the choir, like everything, man, because. Every little thing, every little shout out means everything because you don't know who's watching, you don't know who went back to watch, you don't know nothing. So I appreciate all the time that y'all take to keep pushing me. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So that's the thing about it is making sure the exposure is there, and like you said, you're gonna be contacting Matt in reference to that, and I think I may have your contact information there via email and stuff like that because
Mhm.
hey, Matt isn't the only person that's trying to reach out to you, so I'll see
Yeah.
about
Okay. Yeah.
trying
If
to
I
reach
say
things
that,
to him. You
if
know what I mean?
if anybody knows people that please send them to me,
Hey,
please.
hey,
I
listen,
promise I
listen.
am not that person that's being too
Yeah,
Hollywood because
Yeah,
I'm actually
yeah,
excited to talk to everybody because I can't
yeah,
believe they want to talk to me. So
hey,
yeah.
please.
So
listen,
I don't know.
we all
Maybe
try to be in the Scooter Davis business. We all try to be in the Scooter Davis business. Come
yeah,
on, man.
man.
Hey, listen. I didn't see people build their whole platform off of Floyd. You're gonna be our Floyd, man. So when you
Hey
get to the
man,
top,
I
don't forget about
appreciate
us.
y'all.
When you get to the top, don't forget about us, man.
Nah, 100%, man. Listen, I actually told my dad. I said, I think I'm gonna do this every fight, man. I said the fact
Hmm.
that I think you've been covering me probably since I turned pro. I think we have an episode every time I fight. So I'm like, I want to continue to do this every. It doesn't matter how what I'm saying when I become on pay per view or main event. I want to do an interview with you every time because it's gonna show every fight my preparation with how I was saying with my mind space. So I think. I wanted people to see the journey. Honestly, I like that. So definitely, you guys definitely gonna have access to me for my entire career. Y'all have my
Yeah,
word.
yeah, for sure, man. Hey, I'm very thankful of that. But like I said, for me, with it being like 10 years, my thing is, just being able to, spread the sport of boxing and how exciting it is, and going into the fighters and what they're doing. So it ain't like my thing is, it ain't about me. Like how I mean, what is it like Floyd Mayweather? Listen, it ain't about me. it's a bunch of people, what I mean? So that's why I say, like, even with this interview, you got like more folks out there that are interested in seeing you and being able to talk to you. So, that's why we arranged for something with Brunch Box to make sure you have, you can have a space for Brunch Boxing.
Yeah.
I got, maybe, I don't know if it won't be like for Wednesday or something, but probably something else down the line with somebody, but I'll be able to contact you in reference to that.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I mean?
sure. Definitely, I'm definitely want to talk to anybody that's willing to talk to me. Anybody that want to know me and get to, know who I am to the core and hear about the fight, I'm definitely down to talk. I just appreciate them for actually wanting to talk to me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just grateful, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And I'll put it this way, Matt. I'll contact you. Contact you here in a little bit because I got something. So I got some updated news. I would just say that I got some updated news.
All right.
So
Good, good, good.
so with that being said, man, we very very thankful for have you on here. Shout out to Alberto. Says he said leave the drama shit at home. You know what I mean, and all that. You feel me? So
Mhm.
thanks so much here for being a part of this, and of course having this conversation as always. And definitely looking forward to seeing you on June 7th against an opponent to be announced.
Yeah. He.
To be announced. To be
Okay,
announced. Okay. To be
hey.
announced. All right.
For sure.
All right, yo. So big thanks for being part of our show here, and I'll catch you later.
For sure. For sure.
All right, no doubt, y'all. So that's our guy, Deric Scooter Davis. Of course, aiming to be 7-0 to be part of that card at Scope Arena there in Norfolk, Virginia. So definitely looking forward to that. Now we got, what number of things here we're going to be talking about here for this remaining part of the show. You're going to try to do it as, what is it? I'm looking outside, at least over at my area right now. It looks like it's about to throw down and go crazy and stuff. So hopefully I'm able to do this type of stuff here for as long as I can. Right. So here we go. All right. So we have what's coming up there. Like I said, there June 7th. That's a month from now. So y'all be definitely ready for all of that because that's during International Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. I talked about Franchon Cruz DeZern actually being part of the card there on June 6th at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino. There, that's what is that? A Salida Promotions card. So you got that. But now, want to get into what happened on Fight Week in detail. I have my guy, brother Matt, here in the building. And also, you wanted to see about kind of like rehashing a few things that's happened over the years here in the Boxing Source. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that. But first on the docket is what happened in Times Square on May 2nd there. And, Matt was talking about it, through the midweek report and all that, and said, you know what? I don't want to be part of all that. Or what were they trying to do over in Times Square? And I'm gonna just say, like it looked like a whole mess. It looked like an entire mess from what they were doing logistically and handling things here and there for it. Because one of the stories that was out there was like initially they couldn't have your boy Ashakur Nafisa Stevenson allowed into that little area, and then eventually he was able to get through. But you probably had a number of those issues of those who were invited to that event to try to get into the event. So that was on one front, and then the other thing was like the way that they presented it, how these fighters were getting into the ring, no knockouts, no stoppages, none of that. Um, and a number of underwhelming performances, according to some. You know what I mean? So it kind of like made that Friday look, not all too hot. Only thing was, hey, we got an upset there at the pretty much the main event, as Rolando Rolly Romero beats Ryan Garcia, right? And well, it wasn't an upset according to Matt. You feel me? But it was still, a win that surprised a number of people, as Ryan Garcia was a significant favorite going into the fight there. So now you got Rolly Romero as the WBA regular welterweight champion with that unanimous decision win over Ryan Garcia, and he was able to do what he needed to do there in the ring. He was able to nullify the speed or whatever the quick twitch that Ryan Garcia may have had, and he was able to do subtle movements that really threw off the timing of Ryan Garcia. Now, Ryan Garcia may be fast with the hands, but as far as the feet, nope, he ain't that. He ain't that. You know what I mean? No, I wouldn't. So all right. So with that being said, brother Matt, what was your assessment about the event in general and the three main fights that they had? Well, starting with the main event, what did you think about it?
I'm just going to try to focus on the fights because we all know that the event was a clusterfuck. There's no reason to even talk about it. They don't know what they're doing over there. But with the actual fights, I thought Devin Haney looked good for what it is he's trying to do. I think he faced a lot of unfair criticism, and I think that's because of the announcers. Like, to me, what Devin Haney identified, and rightfully so, is that he is not the kind of fighter that could get his hand back home quick enough to fend off these counter shots. So what Devin Haney decided to do was use his legs as his defense. And it may not be aesthetically pleasing, but it's very effective. And I think that if Devin Haney could perfect that style, he's going to be very, very hard to beat. And I think that that's what he was working on with Jose Ramirez. As for the Lopez Barbosa fight, I thought Lopez looked decent. I really do wish he would have pressed for the stoppage or tried to, get in there more with Arnold Barbosa, because I'll be honest, it didn't look like Arnold Barbosa really brought much to the table. So I thought that maybe if he got pressed a little bit, he would have got out of there. But, it is what it is. He got the win. That's all that really matters. You survive in advance. And then the main event, Rolly Romero, man. Listen, I was saying, you were saying, hey, listen, that fight might not go the way people think it's going to go, and I just think that people underestimate what they're watching with Rolly Romero. I identified back in September when he fought Manuel Jaimez that it looks like Rolly Romero is being more defensively responsible, and you could see the change in his style of fighting since he got with Ishmael Salas. So I just think that he was working on his craft, and it showed up in a big spot where he was able to nullify the left hook of Ryan Garcia. He was able to throw with Ryan if he had to, counter him effectively, and basically keep Ryan at bay. He made Ryan Garcia look like an amateur in there, and I think Roy Romero really had the performance of the night. It was a great performance, and I'm very happy for Rolly Romero, and hopefully boxing fans out there would give him just a little bit more respect now.
Rolly Romero basically schooled Ryan Garcia. He nullified any type of offense that Ryan Garcia would have had. Uh, Nullified the left hand, having his lead hand to pretty much parry the left hand of Ryan Garcia. So you couldn't really see Ryan Garcia kind of throw the jab that much at all there until pretty much the back half of the fight. And by that time, it was pretty much over by then. I think that, once Rolly Romero landed those two left hooks that sent Ryan Garcia to the canvas, that pretty much like took off any type of plan that maybe Ryan Garcia had going into those first few rounds. I wanted to get real quick another great guest here that's been here with the Boxing Source from the jump, and that is our guy, the Boxing Academic. There, what's going on, Boxing Academic?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing today?
All right, just going through 10 years here. We got like a little situation going on outside over on my area, but we gonna get through this here. You know what I'm saying? So glad for you to join on here for this. So what was your quick assessment there of that Ryan Garcia Rolly Romero fight?
So I mostly came on to say hello to Brunch Boxing so he can tell me that I'm trash and be mean to me and stuff, because I only saw the end of the fight because my mother's birthday was on Saturday. So I only caught it toward the end. But the part that I did see, which was like halfway through the fight, was I saw the, like the sideline scorecard. And I asked myself, I messaged the group and I said, is this true? Meaning they had Rolly up all those rounds. And I didn't even see the knockdown until later. And, Ryan appears to be the type of guy, without me watching the full fight, but he appears to be the type of guy that, I don't know. I feel like he a victim. I just feel like it, It's always something. It's always something. And, like, I don't know what he said went on with him before. Like he said, essentially, if people went through what I went through, they may not have, made it back to boxing type of thing. But Ryan I can't even say if he like Adrian Broner in a sense, but no,
Nah.
but I get something. So Ryan has won his big fight, and before, I don't know if I'm trying to. He reminded me of somebody, I don't know who, but what I will say, the dude laid an egg. That's what I will say. And for him, like, I get it. You got to actually fight the fight. Maybe they're used to each other. Maybe Rolly did Rolly get the best of him in sparring? Like, I
It
just
looked like it. Yeah. I mean, he was able to, kind of like bully him in sparring. And I know that, leading into the fight, they were talking about, oh, we don't want to talk about that. That was like 8 or 9 years ago and all types of stuff. But looked like some of those elements of what happened back then still, showed here, because you really didn't see them. You didn't see any adjustments there from Ryan Garcia, and it just ended up being like, hey, you couldn't do much of nothing, particularly after those first 3 or 4 rounds. And I think it was more about, like I was saying, the nullification of Ryan Garcia's left hand. And so once Rolly was able to kind of like parry all of that and also be able to properly defend and have the spacing from it, then Ryan Garcia just couldn't really do much of nothing, because you didn't see him try to, as a taller fighter with the longer reach, try to cut off the ring or try to, prevent Rolly Romero from moving around when he could. So that kind of like shows, I guess, the number of deficiencies that Ryan Garcia has there when he's in the ring.
So Ryan Garcia almost remind me of Anthony Joshua in a way. And they're both supposed to essentially be the number one guy in the ring. They're fighting somebody that they're supposed to outclass. And when things go wrong, they just accept it in a sense. And I ain't talking about late Joshua, because late Joshua was like, I'm not finna go out like this again. Like he didn't like that feeling of just accepting a loss in a sense. Like, it's not going his way, and then you just accept it. And I don't know. I just I get that from Ryan, in that my guy might need some grit, man. I don't know. He might need some grit. And it's kind of disappointing, because when things are going well for him, when he clips Devin Haney, and he's sort of in front of the action and stuff, everything's cool and stuff. But then when things are going tough, does he bite down? Does he like keep going in a sense? He didn't do it in the in the tank fight because there I feel like he quit. In this fight, you say round 2, round 3, he got hit with the double left hook, kind of chin checked him, and then he just accepted everything. He accepted how it went. Didn't press the issue. Didn't I was watching the fight, and Rolly was there. I said he might have been a little different, but he wasn't that different than what he always kind of does. He just throwing pressure shots, and he throwing a few shots at one time, being like springy and springing into action and just kind of, leading with like pow, pow, pow type of shots. And like, you just accepted it. Like my guy need to work on some mental. And I didn't watch the end of the fight, but I'm almost sure it was something there that may have been like, woe is me, or some excuse, or might even use mental illness. And I'm not trying to take away, and I hope everything okay with him, but you got to bite down, dog. You got to learn from Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua didn't like. You got to learn from Daniel Dubois, because Daniel Dubois quit one time, maybe twice, and he ain't like that. He was like, I don't like how this feels to myself. Yeah, everybody clowning me, but I don't like how it feels to myself. And he changed his stripes. He changed his stars. He went out there and he tried to give his all for the rest of his time. And now look at him.
Hey, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Anthony Joshua?
No, I said
Anthony
Daniel Dubois.
Joshua?
I said Daniel Dubois.
Because first you said Anthony Joshua.
Well, Anthony Joshua at least tried against Usyk the second time. Like he tried. Like he really tried the second time.
Hip hip hooray! Come on, man. Is this the same guy that threw the belts out the ring? Come on, man. What are we doing?
He'll still a loser now. He'll still a loser. I ain't talking about his sportsmanship.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But you did mention something very interesting. So I wanted to ask you a question. Do you believe that Ryan Garcia quit in that fight against Rolly? Like after he got hit with that double left hook, it almost seems like he wasn't willing to engage. Like maybe he didn't want to be embarrassed by Rolly, like getting knocked out by Rolly, so he decided to just like try to make it to the final bell and not really be too aggressive against Rolly. What do you think about that?
If your internet was working, you'd have heard me say exactly what you just said.
I just said that I got that from you. I said you said something very interesting.
Oh, my bad. My bad. My bad. I was trying to throw a shot at you, man. I'm sorry. I ain't seen you in a while, man.
I just gave this man a compliment. And,
you know how when you be talking to a girl and you be like, "What's up, punk?" and it's a term of endearment. That's sort of like what I just did right there. Yeah. No. I mean, I agree, and so. I mean, like I got into this long soliloquy, but yeah, I think Ryan just accepted his fate. Like he didn't want to press the issue, and he just accepted his fate. And he
didn't want to get embarrassed.
He didn't want to get. I mean, you said it right. He didn't want to get embarrassed. But it's like it's kind of bitch made if you think about it. Like I didn't want to use words, but it's kind of bitch made. Like it's kind of just. It's the new age mentality where guys are so afraid of like failure. They're so afraid of trying, so they don't actually try. You know how when you was in school and you want the A so bad, so you ain't gonna go up there and be like, go to the board and get it wrong because you want to make sure that you look good, and at that point you don't even try, and then you don't really know what's going on. It's just sort of like that. I don't know. It just makes me. It make me not like him for real. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like people who got all the talent in the world but don't try. Hard works beat talent when talent does not work hard, and that's what we saw yesterday.
Hey, yo, this reminds me of something though. Because this reminds me of a little bit of a throwback here. That happened some time back. Talking about actually when Teofimo and Devin Haney were back in the lightweight division, and you had a comment pretty much like this. Let me see if I can run this here real quick. There, hold up.
If this means that now Devin Haney if he wins, obviously, but if he gets himself a undisputed fight with Teofimo Lopez out of the way, with his prima donna. I don't know if he is a prima donna, but what it looks like, the way that he been painted, it look like he a prima donna, and the accolades that he think he deserves, he ain't got the accolades. Like, yeah, he beat Lomachenko, and I was on his side, and I was happy for him. But it's like, dude, are you kidding me? Fight, man! Like, stop acting like a bitch and fight. Shit, I hate when I play basketball and motherfuckers be just whining and stuff. Like, I'm like, dude, play ball. Like, stop. Like, are you like, okay? You ain't trying to like win no NBA championship, but come on, man. Like, get some ground about yourself.
Well, at least I'm consistent. You're on mute. You're on mute, JR.
Oh, I was saying, that was like back when Teofimo and Devin Haney were in the lightweight division, and you would say like the same thing about these fighters back then, because they have this little moment where they're like, oh, I had the one win and I'm the best ever, and everybody should praise me and acknowledge me like Roman Reigns or something like that, and it's just one win. And here it's almost like they had these fights and they're like you say, it's almost like he was scared to fight with Ryan Garcia out there against Rolly Romero. It's almost like he was scared to fight. You didn't really see that much aggression from him in any sense until the back half of the fight. And then even then, that was only like 2 rounds. And after he knew that he couldn't really do nothing with Rolly, he just conceded, it looked like. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. Ryan just going ahead and accepting that loss, that was just crazy on that front, because given that he was like a huge favorite, a number of people thought that he would have been able to like be able to match the moment, being out there in Times Square, having it be for the WBA regular welterweight championship, and as you said, he laid an egg.
I'm almost sure people have already posed this question, but I want to ask y'all. Does Ryan look like a different fighter because Ryan's blood is probably cleaner than it was however many months ago when he fought Devin Haney?
Over 12 months ago. Over 12 months ago. And a number of people have brought it up. And, they kind of like say, hey, this is what Ryan Garcia is. It is a fighter that, has quick trips, things, but is able to get caught because he's not very sound defensively. It doesn't matter, who he's with. He's been with what? He's been with Eddie Reynoso. He's been with Deric James. He's been with what was it? Goosen, and still has the same tendencies that he's had from the get go. You know what I mean?
I don't think you answered my question though. Does he look like a poor version of himself because he don't have something
on him?
In him, yeah.
The Ostarine on him. Just say the Ostarine, okay? He had Ostarine in the system in his fight against Devin Haney on April 20th of 2024. And now that he doesn't have any Ostarine, that he's just a shell of any type of fighter that he could be. Well, a number of people say that he really ain't that good. He really ain't that good. Smack like that. Shout out to you here on the live chat. He says Ryan Garcia is not coachable. I mean, hey, well, I mean, 3 different notable coaches, trainers there, and they're not able to, properly get him going. So, hey, he says I'm a Wilder fan, but to me, he's similar to that.
What's his name? I don't know. Let me be quiet. Let me change the subject. Misdirection.
Hold on.
Is Devin Haney vindicated?
Hold the fuck on. Hold on. How is he similar to Wilder? Wilder perfected his delivery system. Ryan Garcia has not perfected his delivery system at all. He is not similar to Wilder at all. Wilder was able to have a delivery system for that right hand where you knew it was coming every single time and you couldn't stop it. He landed it every single fucking time. against the best fighters in the world, he still landed that shot. Okay,
Yeah,
it's something to
yeah.
be said for a fighter that's able to land their shot. That clearly means that they have some sort of perfection in their technique. So while Wilder may be unorthodox, he knows what the fuck he's doing when it comes to technique and spacing and timing. Thank
Tag
you.
me in, Matt. Tag me in, Matt. Tag me in.
Go do your thing.
And if you judge Wilder, Wilder is not the most skilled fighter, but he used his skill. He's probably one of the best people to some extent. If you look at one side of the coin, I ain't talking about the other side of the coin, but he used his skill to the best of his ability. That delivery system that Matt is talking about, when he believed in the delivery system, it was one hell of a delivery system. Your pizza got there in 15 minutes. It was still hot. Maybe even 10 minutes if you live real close or something.
I mean, that was the thing about Deontay Wilder was like you've seen what skills he had, but whatever skill he had, he was able to use it regardless and put it to his advantage. And he was able to defend the WBC heavyweight title for a number of times, up until he was able to face Tyson Luke Fury there, in 2018 with their first fight, and then the second fight there in 2020. And so, that was, of course, as we have, right here on the Boxing Source podcast right now, the president and vice president of the Deontay Wilder fan club. That has been, one of the big, topics and stories over the history of the Boxing Source, right? And we've had, of course, a number of memories out there when it came to Deontay LeSun Wilder, right? And it led to a few things here. Of course, going back to what it was, that third fight or whatnot between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. And man, I got to go back to, like, of course, there one of the great moments here on the Boxing Source. So I wanted to see about playing one of these clips here, from one of the greatest podcast episodes that we've had here in the history, where you had brother Matt of Brunch Boxing, make this comment in reference to that third fight. And he is a connoisseur of boxing in the heavyweight division, and so he came up with this leading into the third fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Hold on a second.
Weights is different. These are big, beefy men bumping meat. Okay.
Oh God.
And when you have big, beefy men bumping meat, you need to handle that meat with special care. Okay. And there's no one more equipped at handling the meat than Malik Scott. Let's go.
Wait, what are we talking about again?
This was
You all right, James?
this was before the third fight between Deontay Wilder and
Oh
Tyson
jeez,
Fury.
man. Yo.
And this man,
So man, that was
right
that
this man
just
right
had
here
me.
wants to talk about heavyweight boxing and his, I guess, how he identifies heavyweight boxing. Okay. And so he clearly did that. And when Deontay Wilder was there with his, at the time, the new trainer there in Malik Scott, Brother Matt had to compare or bring in or implement Malik Scott being able to handle a certain product. So that was the comment there that had me falling out laughing there at the time. But the thing was, I mean, with Deontay Wilder, man, I mean, he he was able to utilize whatever he had to his advantage there in that sense. So that's kind of like how you separate Deontay Wilder from someone like a Ryan Garcia, who may have some type of what I say talents or whatever it is, but if you're not able to properly use them, then what's the point?
So back to Ryan. Is Devin Haney vindicated now with Ryan's performance?
He's somewhat vindicated, yes. But now here's the question.
Oh, no. He can only be vindicated in blood. He got to get it back in blood. No,
You're right.
We're not doing this. There's no moral victories in this bitch.
You're
you
right.
Gotta
You're
go
right.
see that man across the ring from you and beat his ass.
Do a Miguel Cotto.
Well, here was the thing that I was saying during that fight between Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero. I was saying, is this like Zahir Rahim versus Eric Morales? Because Eric Morales was all but penciled in to fight Manny Pacquiao in the rematch, but Zahir Rahim was like, "Oh, so y'all just gonna forget about me? Okay, cool. I'm gonna take Eric Morales to school." And basically, that's what ended up happening. He beat Eric Morales. They still had the fight, right? They still had the rematch, right? So here in this case, why not go ahead and still have that fight between Devin Miles Haney and Ryan Garcia?
What's his name? Had a comment smack.
What is it? What as far as Haney?
Yeah.
Oh, he said at the time that Haney didn't show that he really him.
And so the only thing I will say about that is, sure, it would have been great if Haney could have separated and probably stopped the guy, because I felt he probably could have done that. But if he ain't really got to, and he can just outbox this guy and win a unanimous decision and win 10, 11 rounds, I take that as his temperament. Like, why? I don't see him pressing the issue when he know he can win 11 rounds and just outright win the fight. And with a guy who's limited, that's what he did.
Yeah. And I think, the thing was going into that fight with Haney against Jose Carlos Ramirez. I expected, Haney to, do what he does as far as like being able to utilize his range and his movement and stuff like that and just get a clear decision. And that's exactly what he did. But few people were like saying like the issue was that Haney was talking like he was going to show up and show out and style on Ramirez and end up stopping him and that type of stuff. But the name of the game is to win. That's pretty much what it is. The name of the game is to win, and so that's what he did there. And given that we had like a good amount of time since his bout against Ryan Garcia, and being at a weight of like 143 pounds or so, that was one thing that he was trying to get used to. So in the first few rounds, he was getting used to moving around and spacing around the ring and seeing what Ramirez was going to do. And then after that, he just went to work and did things where he didn't put himself into too much danger. And then after that, there were a couple of times that he had some exchanges with Jose Ramirez, but outside of that, you really didn't see nothing where he went to a second gear. You know what I mean? So he gets this win. He's there still undefeated. I don't know if like people are gonna like reinstate him in contention to be like a pound for pound, top 10 or top 12 or whatever it is. But before what happened over in Brooklyn, he was considered among those to be around that top 10 pound for pound. But now it's like, okay, now how do you gauge Devin Haney at this particular point, especially now given that he's not necessarily competing at 140 pounds, at least not for now. So I would like to know what would be next if it's not going to be a rematch with Ryan Garcia. Like that's why I say it. like still the most lucrative fight. I said it before. I said it last year. Say it here right now. The most lucrative fight for this point for Devin Haney is a rematch with Ryan Garcia, despite what happened with Ryan in his fight against Rolly Romero. So there you go. Now, I wanted to go real quick on the fight here with Teofimo Lopez and Arnold Barbosa Jr. here before we go into Saturday and Sunday. I was disappointed in Arnold Barbosa Jr. I thought like he would kind of like be at least a little bit different or a little bit more hungry or try to change some things up here against Teofimo Lopez, and he didn't do any of that. He made Teofimo Lopez look like a superstar type of fighter almost in a sense, as far as like his movement, being able to block and sidestep a number of the shots there from Roberto Barbosa. And it was like a clean decision win there for Teofimo Lopez for him to defend the WBO and lineal championships there at 140 pounds. And so, with that being said, what does Teofimo Lopez do? He says that he would like an opportunity to fight unified welterweight champion Jerome Boots Ennis. Now, after this fight card, if y'all were listening on to the YouTube channel there where I had a live after, reacting to what happened on the fights on Friday, there was one of the guys here that was on the live chat, Brother Topic, that was on and says that he sees no issue in Teofimo Lopez going up to challenge Jerome Boots Ennis there in the welterweight division. I had an issue with it because on two fronts. One, had Teofimo Lopez really like proven or did what needs to be done there in the 140-pound division first, and with Boots Ennis having his intention on being an undisputed welterweight champion, what's the point of fighting somebody that's coming up in weight there in 140 when you could have other fights there at 147 pounds that could go ahead and take place. So wanted to see what is that how y'all reacted to Teofimo Lopez's performance, and do you think that there's any shot that Teofimo Lopez fights Boots Ennis later this year? Matt, you still there with us? Yeah, see, because he has a little bit of a thing there off and on with the phone and stuff. So I don't know. Academic, you could go ahead and share your thoughts on that there real quick.
Yeah, I didn't catch the fight live. I mean, I saw a couple.
Don't let him give his thoughts. I'm here.
All right.
I'm here. Yeah. Come on, man. No. Because I was looking at Sydney Sweeney. She just arrived at the Met Gala, and she was looking good. But anyway, that's beside the point. I just think I don't think the Lopez Boots fight is next. I don't think it's possible because what's the path to getting it? Boots has to make his mandatory against Shakum Giasov, and then after that, he has to make another mandatory against Rolly Romero. By that time, the IBF mandatory is probably going to be decided again between Lewis Crocker and Patty Donovan. He has a lot of mandatories piling up, so I'm not sure how they'll be able to sneak a Teofimo Lopez fight in there unless he drops the belts. But then if he drops the belts, what's the point for Teofimo Lopez to go up and fight him, So, yeah, I don't really see it. I would like to see it. I think it'll be a good fight, but I just don't really think that it's feasible.
I don't think it's a good fight. I think it's Boots is just gonna go through on pause.
That's a good fight. That's a good fight. Yeah.
But you did bring up a good point there in reference to Boots Ennis being a unified champion, and of course with the situation with the WBA that was announced before the fight took place between Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero, that they added the WBA regular title onto that, and then also ordering for Boots Ennis to honor a mandatory there against Shakum Giasov, as Giasov, took a step aside for Boots Ennis to fight Iamana Stanionis for the IBF and WBA titles, right? So it makes like for a more complicated situation and also with the other belts holders, world champions are already scheduled to have fights here pretty soon. So how is he going to be able to get out of a situation with a mandatory challenger that would end up being due, particularly with the IBF and then the WBA? At least for me, I just think that they should go ahead and handle that ASAP. It's an in-house fight, matchroom boxing. You can have it in Atlantic City or Philadelphia. It really don't matter. Just go ahead and have that and get that out of the way. And then afterwards, then you'll see what happens with the WBA and IBF situation there. But for Teofimo Lopez, I think he should go ahead and say at 140. There's a number of fights there still available for him at 140 pounds. So I don't see why not. I think they should revisit Teofimo Lopez versus Subriel Matias, even though Subriel Matias is the top rated contender there in the IBF. The world champion there, Richard Hitchens, is facing George Kambosos Jr. So while that's happening, I'm like, is Subriel Matias going to wait it out for that, or potentially revisit something there with Teofimo Lopez? I don't know. So I still think that Teofimo Lopez has a lot to do there at 140 here still. Boxing Academy, yeah, you got something?
Um, I'm not surprised by the outcome, and it sort of being a fairly easy win for Teofimo, because if you don't give Teofimo a reason to sort of question himself, then he's a pretty good fighter. And he has certain sort of fighting sequences that he believes in, and once he landed them and he fast and can get to the punch before you, it's gonna get there before you. Speaking of Boots and Teofimo, I understand what y'all saying, that it's either not realistic and or he should take care of his mandatories, otherwise it'll be detrimental to sort of Boots. However, I think it would be an interesting fight. I think that early, before Teofimo sort of gets discouraged, he does have opportunities to land shots on Boots. And, it'll only be until when Boots start landing heavier shots on him, where he start not really believing in himself and he just sort of gets reclusive and dare I say it, almost like kind of surviving, in a sense. Like he'll be fighting, but he'll accept the loss as well, and wouldn't want to get knocked out. I don't think he would press the issue per se, but I do think early it would be an interesting fight, because I do think he would land shots on Boots, because there are shots to land on Boots that I do think he needs to correct.
From a defensive standpoint, there with Boots, he has shown that he can get caught with some shots as far as like hooks or something like that, particularly within close quarters. But it would just take something there for Teofimo Lopez to be a little bit of a aggressive type of a fighter, and he is more of like a counterpunch type of style. Wait and see what his opponent does, and then just catches them off that, or just tries to do a couple of things here and there with the jab, and probably follow up with a 1-2, but not much from a aggressive standpoint. So he would have to do, I would say, a lot more there on offense to try to see if he would be at any type of a level with Boots. But I just feel like it's just an absolute mismatch there. And remember, it had been hinted at or teased at last year, and well, it got shot down there too. So there was that. But that kind of like does it there for what happened on Friday. Now Saturday, there's only two things for Saturday. You know what I mean? And before I talk about Saturday, shout out to a great supporter here at the Boxing Associated, Cap Quest, on the live chat, man. But Saturday, you had Santos over Alvarez Barragan there against William Skull. Like I said on Instagram, William Skull did his best impression, or he tried to do an impression there of MC Hammer, because he was definitely dancing around the ring and all that type of stuff. But at the same token, Canelo Alvarez, being the guy that had over 65 professional fights, looked like he couldn't cut off the ring against William Skull. And so that was like one of the most boring, undisputed title fights we have seen. That was just garbage. Absolute garbage, man. Like, you had someone out there doing the MC Hammer, and then the other fighter couldn't necessarily do what it needed to do in order to catch up to the guy dancing around the ring. And so that's why you ended up having an uneventful main event there on that front. And I'm like, and this is why brother Matt recently had his pound for pound list and completely removed Canelo Alvarez from the pound for pound list, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
He's out of here. He's out of here. He's definitely out of here. That's enough for Canelo. You know, he had a good run. You know, as my campeon for so many years, over a decade. Me and Canelo ride or die, riding shotgun like Sugar and Pop. But it's over. It's over. Goodbye, Canelo. You need to do something special to crack my pound for pound again. Maybe fight that Mexican monster, and then you'll impress me.
Yeah, that was just a very, very disappointing performance there, from Canelo Alvarez. And, it was almost like, close to, what happened, what is it, a few years ago, right? I think this happened like a few years ago here, real quick. You see something. Let me see if this could come up here real quick, because it reminded me.
Can I guess? Can I guess? Can I guess?
Go ahead.
Ryder? Is it Ryder?
Nope.
No. Okay, I'm done guessing.
Nope. This is when you had Santos Alvarez Barragan have his fight there at T-Mobile Arena against a Dimitri Bivol. And given the results, this is what Matt had to say.
JR, Mike Grady, aka the boxing academic.
Say my only name from now on.
That's a stupid name, by the way. I'm not gonna get into that now. Yesterday,
Don't be mad just because Canelo lost. It's okay, man. Don't try to take your anger out on other people because Canelo lost.
Yesterday was a dark day in boxing. Yesterday was a dark day in boxing history. Yesterday was a dark day in American boxing history. And yesterday was a dark day for the United States of America. And I'm going to tell you why. Let's talk boxing first of all. You have the guy, the cash cow, the face of the sport, Canelo Alvarez. You had Eddie Hearn convince him to turn down huge events with David Benavidez, with Jamal Charlo, with Errol Spence Jr. We're going to have Canelo versus Spence. I've been calling for that for years. Big boxing events that will put boxing on the world stage, that will put boxing in the eyes of the casuals, that will put boxing into the forefront of not only sports media, but media in general. You had him turn that down so he could fight a nondescript Chinese Russian on an app that nobody has. Are you fucking kidding me? Not only was this on an app that nobody has, they made it pay-per-view and made it hard for people who had the app to purchase the pay-per-view. You could not even buy the pay-per-view through the app on your TV. They would send you to the DAZN app. And then the DAZN app would tell you to go to DAZN.com. You had to go through 3 steps just to buy a pay-per-view of the number one guy in the sport, and then you had him lose? What the fuck were these judges thinking? 'Cause let me.
So there you have it. That was Mr. Matt after Dimitri Bivol got the decision win over Canelo Alvarez. There, that far back, and here, yes, Canelo did get the win, but that was just absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. And so some people are looking forward to this following bout that's going to take place supposedly September 12th at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. It should be on September 13th, but apparently there is a college football game between the Idaho State, what is it? Broncos, Vandals, I don't know, against UNLV that's going to be at Allegiant Stadium on Saturday. And that is the reason why this, or partially why the reason why this particular fight is going to be on Friday and not a Saturday. But even so, as CapQuest said, yeah, that was a two-pack ass, yo. Brother Matt, even though Canelo got the win, and yes, you did remove him from your pound for pound top 10, overall, what do you think of Canelo Alvarez and this potential matchup against Terrence Allen Crawford scheduled for September 12th?
I love it. I love it. Listen, I love big events above all else. And Canelo versus Bud is a big event. I'm just hoping that they know what they're doing when they promote this. Because to me, this is a 2 million pay-per-view event. And I think in the wrong hands, this event is not going to do what it should do. So I'm hoping that they first of all build a really good undercard. If I ran the zoo like Joe McGrew, what I would do is I would put Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia, the rematch, as the co-feature, and then we'll go from there. I'll probably throw Lester Martinez because he's with Bud. I'll probably throw him on the undercard, maybe against Alexander Vazdik, at a catch weight or at the full 175. Obviously Steven Nelson's probably going to be there. Probably Marco Verde is going to be on there because he's a Canelo guy. But you got to build a really good card, and please promote this right, because this has the chance to be one of the big events that we've seen in a long time. Just don't make it a gimmick. Don't do the whole gimmick thing like you did with the Times Square thing. Let's just stick to basics here. Let's stick to fucking basics. Let's promote this right, and let's have a great event.
Now, it would have been a gimmick if they didn't have it at the Allegiant Stadium and they had it in the Sphere. Now, that would have been a gimmick. But I'm still interested to see like how this is going to turn out, as you would have this big boxing event, and then they would have to, I guess, change things and switch things up within a 24-hour, less than 24-hour period, and then have a college football game take place there at the same venue. But before we go forward, I want to bring in another one of our great guests. Has been a part of the history of the Boxing Source podcast here. Has had a number of moments here on this podcast as well, and that is the chef, the resident chef of the Boxing Source, Brother Terrell, is in the building. What's happening, Terrell?
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, JR? First of all, JR, big up yourself for keeping this shit going forward from year to year to year and expanding this shit.
Yeah,
But now, for
yeah,
real, man,
yeah.
just kudos to you for just doing a great job. And I just take a quick look back. I used to drop down to Palm Beach all the time, back and forth to see my daughter when she's down there. And on the way back, I was always jumping on the podcast, background noise like a mug, whatever. But I was on there, but this is the fabric of boxing. And I'm not just saying that lightly. This is the sport, the reporting, the videos, the interviews, the guests. 646, my boy Mike, all that boxing academic. This is the fabric of boxing that you're doing. So great job and keep it going, man, because I enjoy it.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I've been, like I said, doing it for the sport of boxing, and as I was saying there when I had brother Derek Davis on, is that it ain't just about me; it's about the sport. And so, I've been able to not only have myself be in positions within covering events, but other people as well. I've had Matt be in some events. I've had boxing academic in some events. Try to get you on for events too, and a number of other people. So it's more about covering the sport and boosting the sport up, and that's why at least here with the podcast I try to do that, and also with the website, and also just covering the events that I'm able to do here. And if I'm not able to do it, I'll see if I can get other people to go ahead and do it as well. It's not just with y'all three. I've had other people do it too. So that's the main objective here. What I've been doing here over these years and stuff like that. Now, you just got on here as we're talking about Canelo Alvarez and his so-called performance there against William School, and how I feel like that is like the worst undisputed title bout that we probably have seen in a long time, right? Now, what is your assessment of Canelo Alvarez at this stage of his professional career?
I mean, it's well documented at this point. Now we know that over his last 4 to 5 opponents outside of Bevo, he ain't fought no damn body. There's no reason for him to not fight Benavides, but that thought is already gone and past now. And good for Benavides for finally moving on and establishing new success at a new weight class. But Canelo, it's I don't you can say that he's earned the right to do what he's doing right now, but when you are the face of boxing, it's just kind of ridiculous. I mean, you look at this last fight against Skull, that was total bullshit. The guy did. I mean, granted, it takes two to get entangled, but he should have never even been in a position to fight Skull. He should have been fighting other people, right?
Mhm.
But at the same time, it is what it is. It is what it is at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he just couldn't really cut off the ring against a guy like William School. Folks would try to say, "Oh, School is kind of like a Erislandy Lara." No, he's nowhere near Erislandy Lara. Like he didn't throw many punches at all. And folks are talking about the CompuBox statistics, and I know that Box Academic doesn't necessarily like CompuBox all too well, but given the lack of output with both of those fighters over the course of 12 rounds, that was just an absolute embarrassment. And I don't want to see William Skull in on a TV ever again. I don't care who he faces. I don't care if it's a squash match or anything like that. We don't want to see William Skull in the ring ever again. I had the same sentiment after the fight between Shakur Stevenson and Edwin De Los
You
Santos.
took my saying. I was about to say something about that. Keep going, keep going.
And now we're about to see Edwin De Los Santos against Keyshawn Davis. Edwin, he better not. I'm telling you, he better not. I know that he's with Sam Lukowitz and all that type of stuff, and they were able to put him in position to fight for this WBO lightweight title. But he better not pull this off once again. I swear to God. I swear to God, he better not pull that off against Keyshawn Davis. There, real quick academic. You were gonna say something like that.
Yeah, I was going to either pose a question or say the two fights were very similar in that they were snooze fests. However, the only difference is that Canelo was trying to fight, Stevenson wasn't. Stevenson could fight. He just, tried to control traffic a bit too well, like he always does. But Canelo don't know how to cut off the ring, or is not great at doing that. The thing that this fight tells me above all is if Bud Crawford has enough power to keep Canelo honest, you already know the plan of attack for him to win the fight. He gonna control traffic. He gonna keep Canelo at the end of his shots. He gonna land shots. He gonna move. Let Canelo walk to him with his hands down or up, however he have them. He gonna throw pow, 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 and then he gonna keep moving, and he gonna keep moving. He
Well,
gonna
I think everybody would agree the most interesting thing about the Canelo Crawford fight, even during that face off, my main focus was on Crawford. It definitely seems like he has picked up weight. Is that quality? I'm sure it's gonna be quality weight, and but at the same time, how much power can he bring up to this fight at 168? That's the most interesting thing for me. Like I said, definitely looks bigger. But once again, just getting used to that weight, being able to carry around that weight and having it be effective for him in the ring like that. So that's the most interesting thing right there.
I see him as the fighter that has the reach. He can have the mobility to really adapt to what Canelo does there in the ring. He fights as a counterpuncher, and with him having the reach, if he establishes his jab early and is able to reach around the jab of Canelo Alvarez and um, take a number of the punches that Canelo throws there early, then he could have a real shot here of winning this bout. And as of February 14th, as I mentioned there in a couple of days ago, I said that I feel like Terrence Crawford sees that he has an opportunity to prove something here and to kind of like be stamped as the fighter of this generation if he gets his win over Canelo Alvarez. And so I think that is, part of his motivation here to go after Canelo Alvarez and actually say that he could beat Canelo Alvarez here for the undisputed super middleweight title. So, that's the thing here that we're going to look forward to in September over at Allegiant Stadium there.
The only thing I will say in opposition to you, one, Canelo ain't throwing no jab. The only shots Bud Crawford got to worry about is the looping or the hooks or like the wider shots. As long as he can block them and maybe a few uppercuts here and there, he gonna be fine. As long as he can block them and just be responsive to them shots. He like Bud Crawford gonna deserve this to be the fighter of the generation. But one thing I will say, he's gonna get it off of Canelo Alvarez, which we just said Canelo isn't the same fighter that he was 5 years ago or so.
Mm-hmm.
And so Bud deserves everything he gets. He deserves to be the best fighter. He has sort of separated himself from the crop. So Bud is the number one fighter. But it's not an asterisk like in Dungo, but this your fight to lose, buddy. You should definitely win this fight. You should definitely control traffic with Canelo, and this should be your fight. Like you should win you a nice little boxing match here. He should definitely be the favorite, in my opinion.
Well, I had checked with the futures before the fight took place, but now on FanDuel they have it posted there for Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford, and Canelo is a favorite at -220, and Terrence Crawford is at +170.
I'm about to make me some money. What's the decision? What's the decision?
If they haven't on here, let me see. All right, Canelo.
This like Tim Bradley Marquez. This like Tim Bradley Marquez right here.
Canelo by decision is +100. Terrence Crawford by decision is +270.
Look at that. Easy money. You heard it on here first.
Yeah, because
what this site is? FanDuel?
Yeah, FanDuel. Right now, they're the only one that has something on the fight right now. Like we were saying there with Canelo Alvarez, change Bud's chances. I think it's improves Bud's chances actually, even before what I was saying there on February 14th, because you can see Canelo really can't move like that. Like he'll have his high guard, he'll step 1, 2, 1, 2, and he'll throw like one punch or do a shift to throw the left hook to the body. But if you are able to just get around that or try to paw around that jab that he has and just move smartly, then you could pretty much get him. You don't really need to move all too much. You don't need to do like the MC Hammer, like I said, Williams School did. All you have to do is just have that proper distance and be able to just continue to, paw the jab and then work off of that. Now with Terrence Crawford, he's gonna be, there as a southpaw, so he's gonna have the lead right and just try to get around that jab of Canelo Alvarez in that sense. Now, the thing what he'll have to watch out for is with Canelo being a good counterpuncher, that he'll just go right back to the body. That's going to be what Canelo is going to do. Now, if that is something that is going to affect Terrence Crawford between, I would say rounds 4 to 6, and slows down his offensive output or movement, then yeah, he'll be in some trouble. But I feel like he's, been preparing for this fight ever since he had the win over Israel Madrimov. I think he was like locking in on that plan to face Canelo Alvarez after his win over Israel Madrimov last August. You know what I mean? Says, ask the question. If it's too close of a fight, do you think they will keep it with Canelo? I don't know. Because to be honest, even with what Canelo was saying, I don't know if he'll be able, if he wants to go ahead and continue his career after this particular fight, because there is going to be nowhere near the amount of money that he is going to get than to fight Terrence Crawford. Like, it's not going to be close against any opponent, and that includes David Benavidez, regardless of the weight class. So
what I will say, the comment before that Smack had is that it will definitely be a split decision. There's gonna be the one judge that like, if it's close, it's gonna be a 117 type of score. I mean, excuse me, if it's not close, it's gonna be a 117 type of score. But if it's close, it'll be like a 116 or something. There's gonna be that one judge, and then the other two judges might judge it how they really see it. But
so, yeah, 116, 112 or something like that, or the Adelaide Bird special.
Yeah. The only way that doesn't happen, well, even if Bud get some knockdowns, it still would be like 115 or something, or it'll be a tie or something. Bud ain't gonna win all three judges. That just won't happen. He at the worst case, he'll get a tie. Excuse me, the best case. I'm sorry.
Word. Cap says on the live chat that Jake Bag's still out there for Canelo. I don't know, man. I don't know, especially given what happened before, the fights that got made this for this past weekend. Jake Paul had a lot to say about that, and also he had a lot to say in reference to Turkey LLC too. So
what did he have to say about what him got to say?
Like stealing his thunder, reference to potentially fighting Canelo, and also having this instance where Turkey Al Sheikh's involvement with Endeavor, and being able to form this eventual TKO boxing, that this particular fight here could be on Netflix, could be carried by Netflix. And that was, of course, where Jake Paul had his fight with Mike Tyson. So, and that generated a lot of money, a lot of interest. So Jake Paul had a lot to say about that. And I don't know if Canelo, having the word from Turkey Al Sheikh will say, hey, go ahead and go forward with that fight with Jake Paul. I just don't see it, at least not for now. So that's what I had on that front. Other thing there on that particular card, we had the fight that took place there in the heavyweight division that a number of us were supposedly looking forward to, and this was like the most unexpected result out of that particular fight card, is that Martin Bakole and Efe Ajagba didn't have any knockdowns. There was no knockout, no stoppage, and it ended up being a majority draw. That was crazy. Thought like Efe Ajagba, I didn't expect Efe Ajagba to move as much as he did over the course of those 10 rounds. And for Martin McCauley, he just couldn't necessarily catch up with Efe Jagba for a good amount of time. But once he bit down and just started to have his hands up and try to walk down Efe, and when Efe just slowed down, that's when McCauley was like boom, 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 but wasn't enough to have either fighter in some serious trouble. No knockdowns, and we got a majority draw. And McCauley was like, "Thank you to everybody. Thank you, Turkey LLC, 3-out season. Everybody want to be back and have a rematch." And he also said something there to Efe Jagba that was completely paused. All right, that was just insane. I ain't even gonna mention it. But
Because I ain't here. I don't know what he said. Text it to me later.
yeah, I'll text it to you later. I'll text it to you later for sure, for sure. But like Spec said on the live chat, who wants a rematch of that? Nobody wants a rematch of that. And that was supposed to have like some type of rankings on the line or something. Yeah, you can forget about all that.
I'm gonna tell you what happened.
Yo, all right.
What's your boy name? Who you be on Joseph's show? The coach,
Coach Ronnie Shields.
Coach Ronnie Shields heard all us talking that what's his name gonna get knocked out, and he told him, "Hey,
Yeah, but he ain't with him.
Oh, he ain't with him no more.
He ain't been with him, man. He's
My bad.
He's with Efe Jagba is with Matt's favorite trainer, Kate Karoma, and also my guy Flick Emmanuel. That's from this area. So Efe Jagba's been there with Kate Karoma for a long time though.
Oh, my bad. Well, I think Kate probably gave him the right plan because otherwise he would have probably got knocked out.
He probably would have got knocked out because I mean, even when he was landing a couple of those right hands, it still wasn't enough to really stifle the movement there of Martin McCauley. And at one point, with all the movement of Martin McCauley, not Martin McCauley, but Efe Jagba, you see Martin McCauley out there looking like Don Flamenco, talk about fight, come on, fight. You know what I mean? I did not expect that at all from Efe Jagba at all. He was out there, giving us a preview of William Skull. That's what he was doing. I'm like, come on, man, what are we doing? And Matt didn't get his wish of, as he says, two big beefy men bumping meat. Yeah, that is on wax, and I said it. All right, but I mean, in the heavyweight division, you would expect some like real action there, and we didn't necessarily get that. You know what I mean? Got brother Terrell back on the scene here. It was talking about this that heavyweight fight there in this joint here. So any thoughts on that heavyweight fight?
Yeah, man, you guys already know I definitely been favoring Efe Jagba for quite some time. He has definitely not fulfilled all his potential. We know that with his size and in this new age of heavyweight, super heavyweight, should I say, definitely has the height and frame, but not necessarily the full skill and just that dog in him like that. I mean, he had that dog in some early fights. We giving people that big right hand, but as you progress, you have to progress your skill set. Just like Wilder. Anyway, but no, for real, I've been favorite of Java, but like I say, just kind of disappointed. Latter stages of his last few fights. But this fight against man, what's my man name? African dude, Congo. I don't know how they scored that fight.
Bacoli.
Bacoli. Because Bacoli definitely came in to the same height, 6'6", all that stuff, and 99 pounds. The guy is super slow. You can tell that Ajabo was coached very well for this fight. Use your jab, stay mobile, and be a boxer. And when your opponent is literally sitting in the middle room, in the ring, begging you to come in, that means the man ain't got no strategy other than just to go for a firefight, which you don't have to engage in that. This is boxing. As JR says at the end of the show, the point of boxing is to hit and not get hit, right? So, and that's clearly what Ajabo's strategy was. And he did that for most of the fight. outside times where he lied on the ropes. Me, the fight was 7-3, 7-3. So even on some rounds that they probably say that McCauley won for what? For a few flurries against the ropes at certain times. That's not enough to win you around. And no, he never hurt Ajaba at all. He was never hurt, never staggered, never stumbled, none like that at all. How did he score that a draw? I do not know. But what's kind of peculiar about that post fight, the two guys were very friendly towards each other. That's kind of curious because usually fighters kind of keep going at it before the fight and sometimes after the fight. But once again, the fight itself, that was not a draw at all. But at the end of the day, each one gets to move on, and both of them got a big fat payday from that. So crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Bacoli was saying at the end of the day, they're both African. So, it's like Africa first. So that's why, that whole little beef that happened, a couple of days before the fight didn't like carry over here, I guess during the fight and then after the fight. But, like I was saying, that another thing that he said, Bacoli said, I was like, nah, we can't do necessarily. That was just crazy. Brother Matt, if you're on here still, like, how disappointed were you that there were no knockdowns in that particular fight?
Listen, I was disappointed that there were no knockdowns, but I thought it was a good fight. I didn't mind the fight at all. I liked what Ajagba did. I thought Ajagba won the fight clearly. I thought he hurt McCauley at times. I thought McCauley did well in like spots, and when I say spots, I literally mean like a spot or two because he looked like I don't know, man. I don't know what the game plan was. I don't know what happened in training camp, but he was woefully out of shape, and I thought Ajagba took great advantage of it. It was disappointing that he didn't come away with the victory because I thought that he deserved the victory. Now, do we need to see it again? Probably not, because I thought Ajagba won clearly. On to the next one. It is what it is, man. I hope this ends the whole Martin McCauley is the boogeyman thing because he just looks like a regular guy. He's just another guy at heavyweight. There's a lot of heavyweights in the world that could beat Martin McCauley. So let's start mixing and matching and let's see, where everybody's at.
Yeah, and that makes the whole heavyweight division like even more complicated that there's not a definitive result here in this bout because would have been an opportunity for either Martin McCauley to get back in the mix there within that 10 to 15 there in the heavyweight division, and for Efe Ajagba, it would give him like that stamp win there in the heavyweight division that would put him the next step over because he fell short against Frank Sanchez some years ago. So now this would have been this next opportunity to try to get something to get in the mix there within the heavyweight division, and with it not having a result of a winner and a loser, then it's like, okay, what does either of these fighters do? You know what I mean? Maybe for Efe Ajagba, of course, he's there, under top rank. Maybe they had something for him under top rank. I know that he had that close fight versus Guido Vianello last year, and then you seen Guido Vianello fall short there against Richard Torres Jr. Maybe they say, hey, you could have a fight here with Richard Torres Jr. later this year or something like that. But it makes for a real complicated mess out there in the heavyweight division, particularly in that midway point, as I mentioned there, from ranks 10 to 15 there, with this ended up being a draw there. And for Martin McCauley, yeah, I don't know where they're gonna actually put him there unless there's something that I mentioned some time back that still could be alive there for Martin McCauley. Given that there was another heavyweight there in attendance, and he said that it'll be some time before he gets back in the ring. First fight back could be Anthony Joshua. I still say that there might be that event. If Riyadh Season still wants to have these big events and all that type of stuff, you could probably try to make something happen in Africa between Anthony Joshua and Martin McCauley. So that could still be there in the works.
Well, Josh just had surgery, right? Didn't he?
Yeah. So he's going to be, out for another like 6 to 8 weeks. And then after that, he'll be, back in the camp. So that could, open a possibility there. So
And
that's the thing on that.
Don't you think Fury wants Joshua first? No.
But he already said that there's something in the works for him to have a fight lined up. So I don't think that Fury Joshua fight would be out possible until sometime next year, if either next year or by the end of this year, probably December or something. But we'll see. You know, um, for Tyson Fury, it better not be like a fourth fight with like a Derek Chisora or something, man. It better not be nothing like that. But that's mainly what I had for that particular fight card. Every other thing there was semi uneventful. I'm still disappointed that Bruno Sarachi didn't send Jaime Munguia to hell. Yeah, Matt called it. He had them being part of the Canelo team and having Eddie Reynoso there as a trainer. You see Jaime Munguia being a little bit different in a sense there as far as like being a little bit more cautious on the defensive side. So he was able to get a clear decision win there. And now we got to see if he's going to be a contender, a real contender once again at super middleweight. We have to see where he goes from here. All right. Now, with that being said, we got one more thing here to talk about, and that's Sunday night. You've seen there with that fight between Naoya Inoue and Ramon Cardenas, where Naoya Inoue got to stop his victory there in the 8th round, but it was a barn burner of a fight from round 1 to round 8. We saw what happened there in round 2 with Ramon Cardenas scoring the knockdown there on Naoya Inoue. No different than what Luis Neri did. You know what I mean? No different than what Luis Neri did early in that fight. But you still had a good little scrap between both of these fighters. Rounds 2, 3, 4, and 6 were really, really exciting there between those two combatants. And, given with Ramon Cardenas being as, a significant underdog going into the fight, and with Naoya Inoue being as high as a 65-1 favorite before the fight started, it made for this fight to be one of the better fights that we may have seen this year. Shout out to my guy Clarence McLean in the building, man. It says salute. Yeah, man. Yeah, like I said, man, 10 years doing this thing, man. So thanks there on that. And yeah, Spac says it's spies that Inoue pulled it out. Pause. I mean, hey, like I said, it was similar to what he had there against Luis Neri. So makes for exciting fights. For people, looking at what happened there over the course of the weekend, they got more than what they bargained for or what they expected here in that bout between Inoue and Cardenas. But I guess on one front makes for an exciting fight. On the other side, it shows that Inoue still has those instances where he's vulnerable on the defensive side because sometimes he really doesn't hold the phone when he's on defense, or doesn't necessarily have a good switch between offense and defense like that gives his opponents the opportunity to land those counter shots there on that front. So still a good number of things here that Inoue has to work on here, but hey, he's still camping out there at 122 pounds. We're not going to see him at 126 anytime soon. That'll be the last weight that he'll get to. But for the time being, I definitely enjoyed that fight there between those two. Start with brother Terrell on this thing. Like what do you see from Inoue in his bout against Cardenas, and what does this mean for him as far as like being among the top fighters pound for pound?
Yeah, like I told you before today, I didn't really get to really observe the fight in its full fight, but definitely to have an opinion. But it's kind of funny seeing someone in the top 3 pound for pound getting knocked out like that. But I mean, it's boxing; it does happen. Sometimes people are just overly critical of someone getting knocked down. It's not the end of the world. I mean, he did get up and win the fight, but definitely added to the drama of the fight. So I mean, I'm glad for him. Honestly, I'm very interested on this guy that he's fighting next I think Akamadaliev, I think whatever his name is. That
Yeah.
guy, I don't know much about him, but he looks tough. He looks tough. So I don't know. We'll see. But the higher up you go in weight, the more challenges you're gonna face. Your opponents are stronger, faster in a sense in some regards. So, but at the same time, anyway, himself has been an anomaly in boxing, similar to the path of Manny Pacquiao. We know that as well documented at this point. Uh, but definitely want to see him see how far he can take this. But like I said, I'm definitely interested in this next fight down the road. I said the guy looks very tough. Looks like a tough competitor.
Tough competitor, yeah. Yeah, the thing with Akhmadaliev, he is scheduled to have an upcoming fight over in Mexico. So he'll be, like I said, he'll be on the way to having a fight there in Mexico before this upcoming thing that's supposed to happen between him and Inoue. But Akhmadaliev, I've seen him live a couple of times. I've seen him, in action. He's had this opportunity to face Inoue in the past and didn't necessarily go ahead and go for it. So here it's almost like, you know what? Inoue is there still as the undisputed champion and still camping out at 122. You might as well just go ahead and get this fight over with finally. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like how I approach it. There, while people are looking forward to him eventually facing Junto Nakatani, which will, I guess be in 2026 or something like that. So there you go. Matt, you were able to see this fight and you had your assessments of it and was able to, also kind of like do some modifications in your pound for pound list because of what happened here with Naira Inoue. So, what do you think about the fight overall?
So overall, I thought it was a great fight. I thought it was a fight of the year candidate. I did not love the stoppage. I thought the stoppage was a little bit premature. I would have liked them to have given Cardenas, a chance to go out on his shield because he was fighting the fight of his life against a pound for pound star. I thought Inoue performed well after the knockdown. I did have to dock him a little bit for the knockdown because this is the second fight in the last three fights where he's gotten knocked down. Well, second in the last four because he got knocked down by Neri.
Mm-hmm. Nobody's like, oh, you're back. It's like you're off and on there with the connection or something like that. Yeah, it could barely. Yeah, it could barely
Can you hear
hear.
me better now?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, so to me, it's like he did what he had to do. He got the stoppage. On to the next one. I think he's gonna demolish MJ Akpadaliev. I know there's been like a vocal minority calling for that fight. Akmadaliev ran away from Stephen Fulton for years. He showed really no interest in Inoue. He just wanted to cash out, get that paycheck. Well, now you're gonna get that paycheck and get your ass whooped. I think that's what's gonna happen. So I'm looking forward to that. So shout out to Naira anyway and Ramon Cardenas for giving the boxing fans a nice little scrap to end a very dull boxing weekend.
Yeah, shout out to Remote Cardenas. Over the course of the first three rounds, especially like even after the knockdown, like he was saying at the time that he was saying in the corner there with Joel Diaz, he said, "Hey, these punches, man, they ain't really affecting me like that there." So that's what kind of gave him the confidence to have that counter punch strategy and to bait him. Because I was saying that from that second round, being able to catch him, and then him backing up to the ropes, he was trying to bait Naira Inoue and try to set him up. So I was like, yeah, okay, this is the strategy here. So you got to be able to keep this going. And then Joel Diaz was like saying, like, hey, you need to, be aggressive there a little bit or be aggressive a little bit more. And I was like, no, like if you're gonna be aggressive like that, you might end up like overexerting yourself or missing badly and end up getting countered. And that's exactly what happened there in the fourth round. And when he missed a right hook, and then Inoue came back with I think it was like another right after that. And from that point, it was pretty much a wrap there from Ramon Cardenas because Inoue started to go to work. and started to break Cardenas down, and that was that. Box Academic, your assessment there of Naoya Inoue's performance.
Yeah, I only saw highlights of the fight, but from the highlights, it looked like obviously it was a good fight. What you want to see from a champion, which is them facing adversity and they face it and they sort of like push through and don't just accept, that they're gonna let their fate happen to them. So you got to give props to Inoue for that. But at least from the highlights that I saw, it looked like even though it was a competitive sort of fight for a number of the fight, it seemed like Inoue had the better of the fight. It seemed like he still, like, if it didn't go to the cards, he would have probably got like a nice size lead on the
Yeah.
scorecard.
Yeah, I mean, he was still, in a good lead there, leading into the stoppage. It was only like that difference of the knockdown and probably round three that Cardenas was able to get, the I guess that round. You know what I mean? So outside of that, it was pretty much like all Inoue on that particular sense. And it's something there for Inoue to have that. Like I said, as said, a moment of adversity or something like that, like the Neri fight, but still be able to come back in and break down his opponent and ended up stopping him there. And a number of people were really excited about that. Those who were in attendance at T-Mobile Arena was able to see a good show there in the main event, also in the co-feature bout that we're gonna touch on here a little bit. Shout
And
out to my
also,
guy just
real quick,
doing
what's admirable too about anyway, he wants to fight 4 times a year, which is super good for us, right? And in this day and age, when your top fighters only fight once or twice a year, this guy wants to fight 4 times in 1 year. So kudos to him.
Was
yeah.
that fight in the States or was it just televised on ESPN?
No, that was in Vegas.
And I think that's the best thing that could happen to him, like to raise his stature, even more, because obviously people know that he's a great fighter, but him fighting on platforms like that where everybody can see him, people gonna jump on that even more than what they probably already have been if they keep doing that for him.
I mean,
Well,
yeah.
in his defense, he's from Japan, has a huge following back home and huge money back home, so he don't necessarily need to fight here. But that's saying I do get your point though, definitely.
I mean, it's something.
What? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it was like it
Uh,
was
uh,
something to like have the fights that Inoue has had in Japan, where the fight fans here in the U.S. would have to be up at 2, 3 in the morning if you're in the West Coast, or probably like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. In the East Coast. But here with this, you had it to where you watch it if you're in the East Coast, it's around like 10:30 p.m., 11 p.m. Eastern time, but it's like in the afternoon on the following day over there in Japan. So it was like what, noon? They were saying it was like noon, 1 p.m. over in Japan. So I like to see like how much interest the fight got in Japan with it being on a Monday afternoon over there. You go ahead, Matt.
yeah. So one thing I wanted to touch on, something that our brother Terrell said. He mentioned that Inoue's fighting 3-4 times a year. I think it's about time that he slows down his schedule because it's taking too much out of him. I think Inoue probably should be fighting only 2 times per year. At this stage, he's had a lot of wear and tear. These lower weight divisions, you don't usually last that long, and he's already like 32 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He already has about like 30 fights. He's had a war or two. It might be time for him to slow down on his schedule because it can't be good for the body to basically always be in training camp, always be in sparring, always taking punishment, So maybe he should only be fighting 2 times per year.
Yeah, and this is a one-off because every other year that he's had, it's only been 2 fights. 2021, 22, 23, and 24. It's been 2 fights. And now he's already had 2 fights here, within a span of less than 4 months. This is less than a 4 month gap from his fight against Ye Jun Kim and then here against Ramon Cardenas. So, that is pretty interesting that he will want to eventually get back in the ring at another time here later this year to eventually face MJ Akhmadaliev on whatnot. So that was something there, but also with him being around that pound for pound discussion and they're around the top 3 or whatnot and things like that. So Matt from Brunch Boxing has his pound for pound list. Eventually, I'll bring myself to update my pound for pound list as I haven't done it in a while. But we've had some instances where we've had pound for pound discussions on this particular podcast and things like that. So another part of this thing here, being part of this 10th anniversary or whatnot, I want to go back to one moment that we were discussing a pound for pound list. And I had displayed the pound for pound list there back a couple of years ago or so, and I had a fighter that was there at number 1, but I also didn't include at least a certain fighter there at the time on the pound for pound list, and it kind of struck a little bit of a nerve with one of our panelists here. So I want to see if I could pull this up here once, and then once I get that, then we'll be able to respond to it. So I'm gonna give it just a little bit here, and then
Quick
once
question,
yeah,
Matt. Hey, Matt,
I'm here. What's up? What's up?
are you a Knicks fan?
Just a quick question.
Are you a
Yeah,
Knicks
yeah, of
fan?
course I'm a Knicks fan. Of
come on.
course I'm
So
a
I know
Knicks
you.
fan.
I know you watching right now, right? What type of time y'all on, man? What you got going on?
Listen.
Oh, come on, man.
Right now, I'm just worried about my parlay. That's all.
yeah. Hey, man. Yeah, we gotta put a little bit of a bow on this here real quick. But yeah, let me go ahead and play this right here real fast on something that we did back in the day when it came to the pound for pound list. Here we go. Number 1, the unified welterweight champion of the world, the truth, Errol Spence Jr.
So Tyson Fury ain't in your list nowhere?
No, he's not in my list. He's not in my list. Even with the abilities that he has, even with the skill set that he has, the resume is just not there. He only
know why Tyson Fury's not on his list? Because
Why not?
JR is the president and CEO of the Deontay Wilder Hate Club. That's why. He does not respect the great Deontay Wilder. So that is why he does not highly rate Tyson Fury. That's all it is.
That's interesting.
Hating asshole, man. I can't believe
Come on,
it.
man. Yo, hell no.
Who the top heavyweight to you, JR?
Top rated heavyweight is Tyson Fury.
Okay. So you telling me the top rated heavyweight should not be ranked higher than a flyweight or a bantamweight or any one of these no-name motherfuckers?
Nah, it's no name to you because you don't pay attention.
I watch these dudes. They fun when you like want to see a bee or something, like hitting people and you know how Matt said something about women's boxing. It's probably 1 or 2 steps above women's boxing. This is how I feel.
God damn.
Oh shit!
Tyson Fury, he bring the heat, man. Put some respect on Tyson Fury's name, man.
I just knew that the clip was going to be Matt saying something crazy, not me. I have no comment. I mean, it's probably a little higher than women's boxing now. It's probably a lot higher than women's boxing now. But
Man,
yeah, neither here nor there.
Yeah, that was just something right there from the boxing academic back then. But I have to look at of course what happened over the course of this weekend. and see how properly assess the pound for pound list there. So hopefully before this time tomorrow, I'll be able to come up with the updated pound for pound list there. But that kind of like brings a bow to what happened there in this fight weekend, man, and also the pretty much the close here of this particular episode, man. Like I said, been 10 years. Want to work towards doing more here when it comes to the boxing source, and wouldn't be able to do it with those that are here right here on this panel list. You know what I mean? From the jump, we've had the boxing academic and brother Terrell here from like I said, from 2015 discussing the sport of boxing, and then having my guy Matt here, of course, with our continuous wars that we had back and forth in reference to Deontay LaShawn Wilder, but also, to continue to talk about this sport of boxing and have these multiple takes on what's been going down there. So I give a big thanks to all of y'all for being a part of this. And, I had also said there at the beginning of the show, man, shout out to brother Matt Long there that was able to have at least give me that opportunity initially there on Blog Talk Radio to start this thing. And I've been able to, keep it going ever since. So, definitely looking forward to doing much more here with the boxing source. And I'm gonna still, work on getting the boxing content for y'all. So we're gonna be right back at it, at least on the YouTube channel tomorrow with an episode of Real Boxing with Coach Ronnie Shields. That'll be here tomorrow, scheduled for 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then from that point forward, we'll have the midweek report on Wednesday. You're going to have Brooklyn Barwick on as a special guest there for Wednesday. And then we're going to be actually back at it again here with the next episode of the Boston Source Podcast. It is regularly scheduled time live on Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So that's why I got on that. Any parting shots from any of y'all here? I guess not.
Nah. I think we're all talked out. I think we're all talked out, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Very long boxing weekend, man. Very long boxing weekend.
It was. Definitely.
Hey, Matt, don't speak for me. I got something to say. All
right.
So it's been 10 years. And I think this has been enough time for Matthew, Rochelle. Never mind. I could forget about it. So it's been enough time for him to realize that I'm truly one of the brightest minds in boxing. So Matt, I want you to commemorate this and actually say that shit like you mean it, like I'm the brightest mind in boxing, and don't like fake like you don't actually mean that shit.
Academically speaking, of course.
I cannot believe the Knicks gave up this fucking lead.
Bullshit.
The Knicks gave up this fucking lead.
What's the score?
That'd be like
Boston about 1.
Yeah.
Dang. All right, yeah, you're right.
The Knicks were just up by 6. Now they're down by 1.
All right, so we got less than 2 minutes left on that, so we're gonna leave on that front. Big ups to everybody that's listening live. Shout out to those that are listening on the replay there, and I told y'all about the whole schedule that we have this week. So hey, stay busy as I try to do here with the boxing source, right? And yeah, I'll end it like I used to end it there with the podcast here. Point of boxing is to hit, not get hit, not to stand and trade. On that note, folks, I'm out. Have a good evening, everybody.
Ooh.